What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Phil Burnell, aka DarkSydePhil here. Fuck off, you're gone, don't come back. Oh my god, Phil is doing a horrible thing. He's unfollowing his friends on Twitter, and they're not with us anymore. Because I fell for the troll bullshit. Why are you doing a segment about money? They're rich, I'm not.
Because Kojima's a fucking cocksucker.
Thanks for the money, stupid fuck.
Why am I toxic?
In the early days of DSP, he had two notable friends, John Rambo and Howard. They would frequently appear in DSP's videos and become fan favorites amongst DSP's audience. John and Howard would appear in DSP's reboot of Project 7, a popular video series amongst DSP's fans, but it would be cancelled shortly after due to unknown reasons, at least unknown at the time. In 2015, DSP would move to Seattle from Connecticut, leaving him in a situation where he could not meet up with John and Howard in person anymore. After the move, DSP would have difficulty making content with John due to the time zone differences and finding a time that would work for both of them. Fans would ask DSP what happened to John and why isn't there more John content after DSP had moved. To get fans and detractors off his back, DSP would read private messages from John where John would explain there were issues in his life preventing him to make content. John would be outraged by this and cut off contact from Phil. At the end of 2015, Howard would text Phil that a mutual friend had passed away. DSP's response to this was to make a video with a segment dedicated to his deceased friend and monetize the video. This would outrage Howard and he would cut off contact from Phil. By the end of 2015, DSP was still texting John and Howard hoping to get a response, but none would come. Out of desperation, DSP would make a video hoping to get a response from John and Howard explaining that the friendship fell apart and it was 100% their fault. This video would prompt a response from John and Howard, leading them to discuss why their friendship fell apart with DSP. They would release this video on a brand new channel, hoping to avoid profiting from this drama with DSP.
I want to say, put it out there, there's no ads on this video. We've actually created a new channel for this to show, we're not trying to gain viewers or subs or whatever, man. And I'm not looking to subject my subscribers to this horse shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The thing that's like, the other thing that's sad about it is no one listens to this kind of stuff, and then, or listens to like him talk about us or us talk about him, and then goes, "Oh, these guys are fucking cool." You know what I mean?
No, yeah,
it's disgusting stuff. It's sad. It's not. You're not creating content. It's freaking garbage content for the bottom of the barrel, man, and that's what it is.
DSP would only respond to their video 70 years later in 2022. Unlike them, DSP would do a livestream on his main channel, clickbaiting John and Howard in his thumbnail. He would break up the livestream into a 5-part series on his main channel. As seen here, this 5-part series would gain tens of thousands of views, while his regular content would barely break 1,000 views on a good day. He would even hype up the event on his Twitter, saying, "Today is the day." In John and Howard's response video, they would say they felt that DSP was monetizing their friendship. DSP would respond to these claims.
One of the major points, it's actually said, like during and then at the end of the video, is that I tend to find ways to monetize them. And I have actively decided that today, since I will be doing this React event, that I am not monetizing it at all. There will be no advertisements on this stream. There are no advertisements on these on-demand videos on YouTube at all. I have disabled all pop-ups, any kind of leaderboard. There is nothing going on right now in the realm of contributions, all right, actively. I've decided that any portion of this should not be monetized. If this is a concern of theirs, that I unfairly monetize them over the years and I'm continuously monetizing them, it would be pretty dastardly of me to years later, okay, come back to react to this video and monetize it. So I'm not doing that, okay? I could. It's within my legal right to do so if I wanted to. I've decided against it.
In the livestream's description, DSP would encourage people to contribute at the beginning, middle, break, and ending of the livestream so they could get their shoutouts for their donations. This would imply people could still give him money while he's responding to John and Howard's video, but he just wouldn't shout them out. After the livestream was over and he uploaded the series to his channel, people could give him money through super thanks and joining as a member of his channel. DSP would call John and Howard's video a hit piece.
Essentially, what this video is a way for them to vent, because they never did that before. The two of them never really came out publicly, or in some cases, even privately. They never really came out and said this stuff. And because of that, a lot of this stuff, quite frankly, I wasn't even aware of. All right. When this video came out, this was like, wow, news to me that some of this stuff was actually happening. Okay. At the same time, it doesn't mean that just because I was ignorant of it, that it's okay. All right. One of the major reasons I'm doing this today is to kind of give some closure to this subject. 6.5 years later, I have not spoken with these guys since then. Okay. We'll talk about that. That will actually be one of the subject matters that we will discuss today is why. When I heard this video came out, I was like, wow, a video like that came out and they really hate me to do something like that. All right? Because, and we're going to talk about this again in the video. Over the years, abso-friggin-lutely, I spoke out of turn. I said things publicly I should not have said. I was an asshole. I'm going to fess up to all of that today for the very first time, okay? But I was always in the hopes that these guys would contact me privately and we could talk about it, okay? I was trying to contact John in particular, not so much Howard, but John in particular. I was trying to reach out to him over and over a course of about a year to a year and a half, and he decreasingly responded to the point where he started ghosting me, basically. No response at all anymore. And I was hoping that eventually they would reach out and say, all right, enough is enough. Let's talk about this, respectfully, like friends, like men, whatever you want to say, and let's hash it out so we can put it to bed. And even if we can't be friends anymore, at least we can hash it out. That's not what happened. They chose to make a 90-minute long hit piece, I guess you could call it, about me.
DSP would use an edited version of John and Howard's response with context added to it. He would call this video an exposé. DSP would go on to state that he didn't have a close friendship with Howard.
Howard, I would say, was a Street Fighter buddy of mine, absolutely. An acquaintance of mine a little bit outside of that. I never had what would be considered kind of a full-fledged private or close friendship with Howard. That never existed. Maybe that came across that way in the videos that we made together because we kind of played off each other really well, especially in co-op gameplay or a lot of the interactions when we were doing Street Fighter stuff. But Howard was way more of a friend and always a close friend of John Rambo, not of mine, okay? In the context of this video that they made about me, if you just watched the video, all right, you would be of the impression that we were this close-knit group of friends who were constantly doing stuff together, who were constantly involved with each other on an equal level. That couldn't even be further from the truth. I was close friends with John. John was the guy who was in my content every week. John was the guy who I had the business relationship with to pay him for appearing in my content. All right? John was the guy who I considered a close friend. That never happened with Howard, ever.
After this 2015 video, John and Howard felt like they had to respond because Phil blamed them for the friendship falling apart, and Phil claimed he had no idea why they would be upset with him. Phil making a video calling them out was the final straw for them.
Hello, I'm John, and I'm joined by Howard.
Woohoo! Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and it's just one thing that we try to avoid, but
Yes.
It gets to a point where it cannot be avoided.
Yeah, exactly. So basically this is a response to a lot of things, including a video posted by one Philium 2 days ago, who decided to record himself scolding us like a high school gym teacher, saying that you're immature and you need to learn how to be men.
Yeah.
So, there you go. And the main thing is, like, people really want to know why we don't do anything with him anymore. And he himself oddly is saying that he wants to know why, But that video that he put out, I think, is a perfect example of why.
But I lied. I outright said there's no contact and no reason why he'd be upset with me. I knew he was upset with me for that situation. I absolutely knew it. But I lied in this video. Yes, there were disagreements that we had in Connecticut before I moved. However, those disagreements were pretty much kept private and were never aired publicly. So you guys didn't know about them until John and Howard put out this particular video that addresses them. So there were disagreements, but basically since they weren't public, Why do you want to make them public, right? And by the way, any disagreements that we ever had, that we talked about behind the scenes, were settled. It wasn't like, oh, here's an unsettled argument we had, and there, we just left it linger forever. It was kind of like, all right, you're mad at me for something, let's talk it out. Okay, sorry, we'll fix it, done. And then move on, right? So he says, oddly enough, Phil doesn't know why we don't want to be his friend. No, not oddly enough. They never said anything. They never said, Phil, listen, your behavior is toxic. Your behavior is detrimental to us and our well-being, and we would like to not be your friend anymore if you're going to continue this way. That conversation never happened. So when that conversation never happened, the resentment built up inside of me and prompted me to do something like that stupid video, basically saying, why won't you just tell me what's wrong so we can address it, right? It's called passive aggression. You're not actively being aggressive with someone, you're being passively aggressive with them. By not talking to me, by not responding, excuse me, to my attempts at communication, by saying that you were going to be in my content and then, oh, can't do it, oh, still can't do it, oh, another reason I can't do it, oh, can't do it. And now I'm the one with the public face to the public, getting all the requests. Where's John Rambo? Why isn't he in your content? What's going on, right? That's passive aggression against me, okay? I'm not saying that they were wrong to do it. I'm just saying that's what happened. And because they said nothing, it boiled to a point where people absolutely demanded answers. Personally, I was ready to move on from it, but people were all over me every day about this. So it kind of boiled to that point where finally I'm doing an Ask the King, and I basically made that segment that should never have been made. Completely incorrect that I did that. Okay.
Notably, DSP would state that when he says he's being honest, it doesn't mean he's being honest, it just means he's about to say something imprudent to him.
I'll be completely 100% honest with you. And, people will...
I say that a lot. I'm going to be completely 100% honest with you. I also say I'm going to be transparent. These are mannerisms in my speech. When I say that, essentially what I'm trying to do is emphasize that what I'm about to tell you is a serious matter. It's not me joking. But some people over the years have misconstrued it as meaning other things. All it means when I say that is I'm about to tell you guys something really important, and it's meaningful to me, so please listen up.
One of the first issues they would bring up was when DSP unfollowed them on Twitter around Thanksgiving of 2015. This would lead DSP fans and detractors asking John and Howard why DSP unfollowed them. Phil would state that he didn't unfollow them because he had some issue with them. He unfollowed them because he was being harassed by detractors. Phil would go on to say that they shouldn't have been upset by this and should have just blocked all the negativity instead of being upset with him.
Which caused some issues. So something with Thanksgiving, I don't know if he's eating something that doesn't agree with him. Maybe he needs to follow your turkey recipe.
Yeah, it really, I think for me, it really started with that because not only did he unfollow, the way I noticed it was when I was on Twitter, I looked at his people that he was following and he unfollowed both of us. And there was no really no rhyme or reason to it, which I thought was, I think that was the first shot. I'll be honest with you.
It's weird stuff. Especially when you work and you work hard and stuff, you look forward to certain days off. And like Thanksgiving is a certain day, like with your family and whatnot. And then to do these things on Thanksgiving, it sounds silly. It is just a day, but you're showing no concern for the other person. You know what I mean? Like you're going to cause shit. Suddenly you get inundated with messages and people, while you're trying to enjoy a day with your family.
The way I noticed it is that I was on Twitter and I just happened to be looking at the people that Phil was following on Twitter, and I noticed that he had unfollowed both of us. Huh? That's confusing. So you just randomly go to @TheyCallMeDSP and look at who I follow randomly and noticed? No. I don't. Do you do that? Do you go to someone's Twitter profile and just check who they're following constantly and see, that's confusing to me. I know exactly what happened. I unfollowed them and the internet trolls messaged them about it. So was this, oh my God, Phil is doing a horrible thing. He's unfollowing his friends on Twitter. What a huge dramatic. No, I never, ever thought of it like that. You can argue, oh, maybe it's passive aggression or whatever. I never thought of it like that. Basically, to me, I wasn't thinking of it like that. And by the way, I didn't just unfollow Rambo and Howard. I unfollowed a bunch of stuff that day. I remember sitting down and I was getting bombarded with negativity about them for not being on John Rambo's Thanksgiving show. And with that, he addresses that later. So I don't want to jump the gun on that. And all I see is a bunch of toxic, dumb shit about me not being on John Rambo's Thanksgiving special. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. Unfollow everything. Just unfollow all of it. Fuck this. I don't even want to follow any of it anymore. Okay? This part, like, you want to say, Phil made a video, out of turn, speaking up, saying messed up stuff, 100% I'm going to agree with you. When you say, wow, Phil did a really awful thing, he unfollowed me on Twitter, I'm going to say, what in the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? I'm sorry, that one I don't get. That one throws me for a loop. All right? That's an issue for anyone being unfollowed on Twitter. Now, being harassed by trolls about it, I can understand. But you notice, that's not what was said here. Howard's like, oh, I noticed it when I was just casually checking who was following me on Twitter. And Phil had unfollowed. What? Like, no. That's not, I know what happened. They got harassed. And this is another, as I said, this is a running theme. But this is you're going to find the trolling gets both sides, me and them. It leads both of us to kind of do stupid shit, I feel. And this is one of the situations where I just think this is completely off base at all, that this is something that was even an issue. Someone unfollowed me on Twitter and a troll messaged me and told me, fuck them, block them immediately. Don't deal with them. Why are you addressing? It's nonsense. It's internet nonsense. Just it should not be bothering you. And I'm sad to know years later that dumb shit like this, that who would have thought? I didn't think that unfollowing someone would be something that would affect them, and it did. That's fucking terrible that it did. I never intended for that. Okay, so here we go. It's Thanksgiving. I want to spend a day with my family and friends, but I'm inundated with messages, so ignore them. I get messages every day from a million different sources, and if it's bullshit, I ignore it. Now, I'm much better at doing this today. Back then, not so much. Admittedly, this kind of shit would get to me. But it's Thanksgiving. You're spending it with your family, your friends, you're having a meal, you're sitting down. Why are you on the internet reading messages about people saying that Phil unfollowed you on Twitter? That, like what? Why is it? It doesn't make any sense. Again, these guys, sadly, were bombarded with trolling and didn't know how to handle it. They weren't like me. Unlike me, they didn't have this public face where constantly they were attacked in a negative way. In fact, I would say probably the years that I moved and everything, that was when the negativity started, where my trolls would go after them as a way to get at me, and they just couldn't take it. And again, that's bad. It's nothing I intended. It's nothing I wanted to happen. I'm very sorry that it happened. But sadly, that's something that I couldn't have helped. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what, these idiots were going to go after these guys. And that sucks to know that just because they were my friends, because we made content together, they're going to get attacked for stupid bullshit like that. No, I didn't want them to be bombarded on Thanksgiving with messages about Twitter. At the same time, they shouldn't have cared. Like, ignore that shit.
John and Harold would state that their intentions were not to defame Phil, but he would state that it doesn't matter what their intentions were, they defamed him by bringing up private events.
Again, we're not here, and we just want to reiterate this, we are not here to defame anyone. This is just to let people know our side of the story, because people have a tendency to just view one thing and not look at it from another way and trying to understand the other party's view on it.
And I'm not angry. Like, I don't know about you. I'm not angry with the guy. We've said before publicly, like, we wish him the best, don't wish him any ill. I hope he, makes a ton of cash and has a great life, man.
Yeah.
Why would I not feel that way? What is it? How does that affect me?
I agree with Howard, okay? Absolutely. They have the right to make a video that's not defamatory and give their side of the story. Good. Please do. Because they weren't giving me their side of the story, right? They weren't speaking to me at all. So by all means do that, okay? However, as you will see as we get further and further into this video, we delve from the realm of the public to the private. There's many things discussed in this video that have absolutely nothing to do with the public. And every once in a while, the public would try to pry into our private arrangements or whatever. And in a lot of times, I was the one who misspoke and brought that stuff to the public and shouldn't have done that. Okay? At the very same time, there's definitely some stuff in this video that they made that I would feel is completely hitting below the belt. And in fact, there is one segment that I can't believe they made. There is one segment in this video that is incredibly hurtful to me, and I don't know how I'm going to get through it publicly with you guys because it's really fucked up. Like, beyond belief fucked up. Like, we're going to get to it. I'm not going to skip it. We're going to do it, okay? But that's the thing. We're not here to defame him. Okay, fine. But understand that when you made this video, it doesn't matter what your intentions were, that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay? When you're going to make a video, instead of addressing it with the person privately, you are going public with information that is defamation. It doesn't matter what your intentions were. Oh, I just want to stick up for myself. Fine. And you have the right to do that, but you're also defaming the person at the same time. And absolutely, that's what happened, is this video was viewed as, here's the evidence from all the years that we said that Phil's a piece of shit, and Phil's a scumbag, and Phil's an asshole. Here's the definitive evidence. Even his closest friends hate him. And that's exactly how this video was presented on the internet for many, many years.
Howard specifically would say he was ticked off by Phil revealing private messages. DSP would question why Howard was even involved here.
And the other thing is, there's a lot of history. There's a lot of good times, man. There's a lot of really good times. And you kind of you'll piss on a lot of that stuff by doing this. And I feel like things should be kept in-house amongst friends. You know, a circle of trust amongst friends, Howard. Do you believe in such things with people?
No, I wholeheartedly believe in that. And that's why I'm a little ticked off about this, because, you know, it's one of those things where, like, you know, you can't even trust him in terms of, like, sending a message, like a text message, because you don't know if that's going to get publicly put on, like, YouTube, or if he's going to make a video about it. Because it's something, you know, if I send you a message, I don't expect you to the next day or 2 days later or whatever make you know, during your regular vlog sessions, you go ahead and you publicly read the message.
Yeah.
And
that's a great point, because like what we're going to be doing today is kind of maybe revealing some things, and I've kind of really held against doing that, because it does make you in a sense a hypocrite to be doing the same thing that has caused you pain or caused you you know, to be pissed off. But it gets to the point, like, enough is enough, man. At this point, it's really jumped the shark. And things have got to be put out there, man.
Howard, why are you ticked off? Howard, how are you involved? Howard, hello, Howard. You're not even in this. This is between me and John. When I moved, it was about me and John having an ongoing relationship. Me and John having content we were going to make together and still be friends and contact and all of that. Howard was not in our circle of friends. Howard was friends with John, but he was not a direct friend of mine who we even discussed having any kind of ongoing relations of any sort. Seriously, Howard. Hello, Howard. You never sent me a text message outside of one or two, which will be addressed in this video. Okay? We never had conversation like that behind the scenes ever. I never revealed a text from yours ever public. This is all John. He's literally talking and projecting John in what he's saying as if it happened to him. It didn't. This is John he's talking about. John, we would text back and forth. John was the one who I should not have, and I revealed some private information on one of my streams. Not Howard. But he's talking like it's him. It's not. This is a complete misrepresentation of the situation that happened to try to make me look worse, and I don't appreciate it. I just don't. You can say I'm bad because I did bad things, and here's the bad things. He's saying I did things to him that never happened. Okay?
John and Howard would have issues with Phil monetizing their friendship by recruiting any time they would hang out. Phil would not understand the issue. He would go on to say if they were going to hang out anyway, why not make money while doing so?
And again, if people get pissed listening to this, as a consolation prize, if you really think about it, if you're a fan of Phil's, you have to agree that I did, and I know you did to an extent, everything you could to help him over the years. You know, and so much so that to this day, he makes money off of videos that we're in to this day, every day.
Yeah.
Whether it's 10 cents, whether it's $10, whatever the hell it is. He's making money off off the work we did for him every single day, and he's still finding new ways to monetize us based on that video and other things that go on.
Not today, John. Maybe up to this point, but not today. If I was going to do this react, there was no way I was going to monetize it. For good reason. Like I said, that's the major point he says. No, not monetizing this whatsoever. And it's too important.
Pretty
and
much.
by the way, again, running theme money. Oh, I don't care about the money. It's not about the money. But then they keep bringing up money being monetized. We'll talk about that because John will directly address it later. So it's weird that it's an ongoing issue if there's no issue. Okay.
And then I think I really think that like it's really like a testament as to what he held our friendships for, because it seems that the money was more important than us being his friend.
Yeah, I mean that's how you feel.
Yeah,
That's how you feel.
That's how I feel, because I don't know. There's like a whole bunch of things that we got to talk about, and I don't want to go ahead and go out of turn.
All right,
but,
I got you.
yeah.
Really sad that they feel that way. I really, 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 really am sad that they feel that way, because as I said over the years to you guys, to me, it was like we were friends. We would hang out. We were going to hang out regardless and have fun. So if you can put a silly camera down and record what you're doing and make money doing it, why not? We were having fun already. So to me, it was like, let's hang out. Let's have a good time together. Hey, by the way, we can make money doing it. Why the fuck not? Right? To them, it seems to be like that's not a case. That because there was money involved, that wasn't like friends hanging out. To me, it was. The entire time we did Project 7, was it work? Yes. But was it a bunch of friends working together and having a shitload of fun doing it? Hell yes. That was a really cool experience. So what's the issue with the money-making part of it? That I didn't understand.
In DSP's 2015 Thanksgiving video, DSP would insinuate that John and Howard were talking shit about him. He would go on to state that the Paymetons parody that John Rambo did was talking shit about DarkSydePhil.
In that video, he says, this is the Thanksgiving video I'm talking about. He says they talked shit about me. I don't know if you caught that part.
Yep.
And I'm not exactly sure what that is in reference to. Now, there was a video I put out, the Paymetons parody, right?
Yep.
And it's a parody, man. I've done parodies in the past.
I never said that they did talk shit about me, okay? I never actually outright say that in the video. Can you say that I insinuated it? Yes. Can you say that I said it? No, because I never said it. What I was saying was I'm not the kind of person who would do that. That's actually how I phrased it. I said I wouldn't talk shit. I wouldn't do that. If I have an issue with someone, I tell them to their face about it, okay? That's the point I was making in that video. However, John did talk shit about me.
The Paymetons parody was making fun of people that were constantly plugging their Patreon and not fulfilling goals on Patreon. This parody would have a lot of parallels with DSP, as DSP had plugged his Patreon a lot and failed to fulfill his Project 7 goal around this time.
Where we talk shit about him, I mean, we made that Paymetons parody that says DarkSide in it. But I'm not sure where we talk shit about it, okay? John, out of nowhere, out of left field, just slammed Phil. Phil hasn't said anything bad or insulting about John, but John just slammed him. Wow. He fired the first shot. And that's the funny part, because they said in this video, Phil fired the first shot, okay? Me unfollowing them on Thanksgiving was firing the first shot, according to Howard. No. I was not trying to hurt them by unfollowing them on Thanksgiving. This is a direct, intentional, concerted effort, a produced segment of a show slamming me for opening a Patreon. Has my name in it. You can't dispute it's about me. Sorry, you just can't, okay? In that Thanksgiving video that I made in 2015, I never said that they talk shit about me. I said if I was someone in a situation that had an issue, I would be public about it, confront someone to their face about it, and not talk shit. I never said they did. They did, but I never said they did. Now, personally, I didn't take this as a direct insult.
Just to give you a little idea, I've done parodies about machinima, I did a YouTube parody where YouTube was a talking vagina robot that ran
Yep.
YouTube. I've done GameStop, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
His parodies in the past, Machinima, the partner network that everyone knew that I was with for the longest period of time, YouTube, the website that I put videos on for a living. You see the running pattern here? Oh, I've done parodies in the past. Oh, by the way, every parody just happens to also be related to Phil. What a coinky-dink, right? What a shocking coincidence that they all actually are related to things that have to do with Phil. Oh, and you missed that. He said GameStop, et cetera, et cetera. He did do a parody on GameStop. GameStop unfairly fired him because he was in my videos. What does he do parodies about? Things that he feels have wronged him or things that you know, are bad in relation to him. And all of it has to do with me somehow.
Comes out, man. People get a little crazy about it. So 2 weeks later, you know, you and I were on doing the show, and we explained it wasn't singling him out, you know. Now, was he like an inspiration for the character that I was portraying in that? Yeah, sure, to an extent, you know. But again, not in a malicious, hateful way. It's having some fun with something. But it's not, again, it's I think it's hard to say it's directly about one person. Right?
Yeah, it was a whole thing. The whole thing was about that, the Patreon website, you know, and what people do. And, you know, and then what it is too, it's when you look at it, it's to basically shed light on some of the negativity that revolves around that site, and not only that site, but Kickstarter. Look at all the shenanigans that has transpired in the past like few years, where people like raise up all this money, promise a product, and then basically everyone's SOL. They took the money and people are fucked.
And now here comes Howard with a little segment I like to call Howard Deflects. Because this is going to happen many, many times during this video. Let's see how Howard can deflect this one off of them doing something wrong. Of course, at this point, it didn't. So he didn't know that was going to happen. But he's essentially saying, if you have a Patreon, you are taking someone's money and running and never producing said content that you promised to produce. That's what he's saying, okay? That Paymetons segment was made in early 2015. There was no controversy around my Patreon at that point.
DSP would claim that the Paymetons parody came out in early 2015, but it would really come out August 5th of 2015. In April of 2015, DSP had already failed to deliver one of his Patreon goals of weekly Minecraft. Around this time in August as well, he would cancel the reboot of Project 7, another Patreon goal from July.
So, he's completely deflecting. My name is in the parody. You can't deny it's about me. If they had not put DarkSyde in there, you can argue that. My name, DarkSyde, is in the parody. It's about me, directly. Personally, do I think that it was an actual mean insult? No. So if that's the case, why are they bringing it up in their video? Right? I outright said it's not an insult. I didn't say in my Thanksgiving 2015 video that they had talked shit about me. I said if I was someone who had an issue with someone else, I would say it to their face and I would not talk shit or anything like that. I'm telling you what I wouldn't do if I were in their situation. I didn't say they did it. You can say that I insinuated it, but I never said it. They are actually, in my opinion, guilty. They're feeling guilty that they made that, or John feels guilty that he made that. I outright said, he'll even say this, I outright said, it's not about me. He's not insulting me. So why, John, are you bringing it up in this video then? I don't understand. And then why did you have Howard deflect the whole situation, say it was about Kickstarter? Patreon is not Kickstarter. They're two completely separate businesses with different intentions. It's not even equivalent. It's like apples and oranges. Massive deflection and an epic fail of a deflection right there.
Phil would insinuate that John is jealous, but then go on to state that DSP himself is jealous of PewDiePie.
I hate Patreon, or I hate people that use it or something. No, I really... Honestly, if everyone on there, hope everyone gets $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Like what? It doesn't affect me in any way.
John, if you say things like, I hope that everyone out there makes $1 million a month, it doesn't affect me, then why are you saying it? If it doesn't affect you, why are you saying it? Because it affects you. Listen, I'm guilty of this too. Why do I sometimes name drop other content creators that are bigger and more successful than me? Because I'm jealous. That's why. Yes, I'm jealous of PewDiePie. Yes, I'm jealous of Markiplier. They're rich. I'm not. Don't then say, oh, it doesn't affect me. I hope you're all rich. No, you wouldn't have made the clip if it didn't affect you. It's complete bullshit. I know, because I'm a bullshitter too, and I've done it over the years with these other guys. Yes, you are 100% you're affected by this or you wouldn't have made it. It's just, it's cause and effect, man.
John and Howard would discuss how DSP can't help himself. He would constantly fall for the bait from detractors and have to respond every single time. DSP would agree that he used to fall for the bait from detractors, but he would also say that John and Howard fell for the bait as well.
Just say something in a video, it's like, oh, they talk shit, but you have no examples of this? So people just kind of go, oh, they talk shit. They must have done it.
Yeah, and you know, it's just one of those things that people like. I feel bad because he doesn't know how to let go of things. I guess people like, you know, and this happens with anything. You know, people jam you with stuff on like Twitter, and they prod you and prod you and prod you to try to get a response out of it. And he fell right into the shenanigans.
Yeah, you know what? And we're falling into it right now because honestly,
yeah,
I think
he's falling into it right now too because he threw a shot, and then we didn't want to throw the shot, but now we have to throw the shot. Yeah, and he falls victim to it on a consistent basis.
Yeah,
and he has an issue, like a really big issue with damage control. Like, he doesn't know how to ignore things.
Yeah.
So this is why we're in the situation that we're in now, is because of that.
Yeah.
You know, there was no need for him to address this. He could have just let it go, and that was it.
But I agree with Howard. I have always been terrible at damage control. I have always had an issue where if I get attacked from multiple directions, and back then it was way worse, by the way. Today, we got our shit under control. Right? We do. Today, you got a ton of people in the chat being dicks to me right now. I'm not paying any attention. I don't care. It doesn't bother me anymore, you know? But back then, if people came on me at Twitter, at me, you know, came at me in my video comments, came at me in my stream chat, on my forums, I fell for it. Hook, line, and motherfucking sinker. Motherfucking sinker, bro. I just yomp like a big fish. Here's, oh, there's a worm. Ah, eat that shit. I fell for it all the time. I always took the bait. Every video, every stream, every comment, everywhere. Where's John? What's going on with John? Why isn't John in the video? Why isn't he making the videos with you? What did you do to John? Why? Why, Phil? Why did you ruin John's friendship with you? And I'm like, what the fuck, man? So then I would say dumb shit. I would completely say dumb shit that was out of turn, that was insulting, that was dumb, that was revealing private information, and it's all wrong. I have no defense against that at all. Zero. I did it. It's wrong.
And I think this is what he wanted us to do. This is why I haven't done this ever until now. Despite him, you know, running me down on his forums, on Twitter, on his chat, you know, and like try to do stuff on the sneak. But I catch wind of all this stuff, man. People send me all this stuff.
Yeah,
and most part, I don't look at it, but with things like this happen, I'll go through and see what's going down. You know. It's an attempt to get something going.
He's saying there's a campaign against him. Like, I was constantly trying to like talk shit about him and bring him down and stuff. Again, that wasn't the intention, but again, it's troll bait. Trolls baiting me into saying dumb shit or trying to get emotion out of me. But here's the thing. He's trying to kind of say that like I'm doing it behind the scenes. Everything I did was public. My forums are public. You can see them right now. I didn't delete the posts. My Twitter's public. My videos are public. Everything's public. It's not like Phil is trying to do a underhanded backstabbing campaign where he's bad-mouthing John behind the scenes and shit. I did it in public. I mean, maybe that's even worse, right? But it seems like he's trying to say like, oh, I got wind of it. Now, John, you got wind of it because my trolls baited me and then they sent you my responses. They did it on purpose. I mean, I fell for it and then you did too, you know? But in reality, I'm guilty of this, you know? Again, I fess up to it, but absolutely... John bit hook, line, and sinker too. When the trolls sent him, he's like, oh, I got wind of it. How did you get wind of it? Because the troll sent it to you, dude. I mean, how do you not realize that's who it was? They were getting me to say stupid shit so that they could show it to you and you'd be mad at me. That was the point. That was what they were intending to do to begin with. You see? Okay. I never, in my wildest dreams, expected they were going to do a public video like this. First of all, Howard at all. Howard has nothing to do with it. But John, I never expected it. I thought this would be the straw that broke the camel's back, that he would either call me or start responding to my texts again and say what was going on. Because again, he had been ghosting me essentially for almost a year at this point when I made that Thanksgiving video 2015. Okay? In reality, what happened was I got my answers, just not in the way that I was expecting. And it blew up completely in my face because now everyone publicly thought that I was a scoundrel, a scumbag, a piece of garbage because of this video. Again, I'm not going to dispute that there's things I've done wrong. All right?
At one point, DSP would say that he gave 50% of any profits in the videos they made together to John Rambo, but John Rambo would refute this, saying that that's only half the truth.
The first one I want to talk about, which is disgusting, man, is money, okay? You ever told, like, you shouldn't talk about money?
Oh, yeah, all the time. All the time.
This is not me complaining about money, because honestly, from my side of things, I know some other people in our circle don't agree, but I believe I was treated fairly with money. But the problem is, info that's been presented to you is not exactly true. So it's something that he says quite often. John got 50%. He got half of everything that we made together, or videos I was in with him, right? And again, Howard, like, why is this something that's said publicly?
This shouldn't have
come up with any kind of reason.
There is no reason to say this unless he's lying, or B, he's trying to save face. There is no reason to even address anything about money publicly on a YouTube video.
Yeah, and this is done way before there was any kind of before there was major problems. Just something that's thrown out like, "Oh, look, I'm a great guy. I'm giving him half the money."
Yeah.
John feels that he was treated fairly with money, but people in their circle don't agree. Who? What are you talking about? This is about you and me. This is not about people in your circle. And what did you tell them? So you told people in your circle what money you were making in our videos. Other people knew. Okay? It wasn't just me on one side. He was telling people all around him what kind of money he was making, apparently, and they said it wasn't enough. So there's the seed of, oh, you're not happy. You shouldn't be happy with that. You should have more, right? Again, John said earlier, this isn't about money. I don't care what everyone else makes around me. He says here, Phil treated me fairly with money. But now he's about to have a whole segment about money. So why? If you feel you were treated fairly, right? Why are you doing a segment about money? He says, oh, because there's some misinformation. Even if there was misinformation, who cares? You were treated fairly with money. How is this an issue? There is this reference to a circle of people behind the scenes who are basically, what sounds to me, they're poisoning the well. They're looking at the situation as outsiders, right? And they're telling John, hey, John, you were treated badly. This was bad. Why were, meanwhile, John and I are having a blast. We're making content. We're making money. We're having a good time together. There's no ill will there. All right. But what is this circle of friends telling you didn't make enough money? And why are you listening to them if you feel like you did? Why is this discussed in your friend circle? This is you and me, our friendship, our business relationship. Why is this being poisoned by others? This is weird to me. To hear him say it like this, it's very telling that there's other stuff going on that you don't know about until this video comes out, okay? Anyway, let's see what John has to say about money, which he said you shouldn't talk about.
And I had to come to him and ask, because we're still doing videos. I said, since you're getting something for this, do you feel that I should get a percentage of that for my efforts on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we make an agreement, which will be basically half of the month's co-op income. So what happens is he takes out taxes from that amount and cuts it in half, right? I get half of that. But for instance, like if it's March and we do videos in March, I will get a percentage of what was made in March. That does not include residuals like for months coming up Like, for instance, if those videos make more money in April or June and July, okay? Like, that doesn't include that. So whatever was made in April for that month, that's what I would get. It does not include streams or whatever other money comes in, right?
Yep.
This went on for a little while.
By the way, I had to come to him and ask. He says it like he was doing these videos for an extended period of time, and I was not paying him, and then he had to ask for the money. No. Once I got partnered, it was pretty quick. I can't exactly tell you when. I could tell you it was relatively quickly after I got partnered and he was regularly doing the co-op with me, and then we started seeing the results. Oh, the views were good. There's money coming in. And then he said, hey, can I get paid for that? I said, absolutely. You are 100% entitled to getting paid. You're part of this content. It wasn't like, oh, I did it for months and months and I had to then ask him and beg him for money. That's not what happened. The way he says that makes it sound like that, and that's not what happened at all. And there was a reason for that. It was actually a discussion that we had. It wasn't like, oh, we never talked about it or whatever. We did have a residuals discussion. He said, is there any way to figure out residuals? I said, well, John, the only way we can figure out residuals is literally if every month, not only am I going to sit down and look at the new videos we make, but now I have to request reports on previous months from Machinima, and I have to sit down here and crunch those numbers too. And we did this actually once and found out that the residuals, unless it was a giant playthrough, the residuals were essentially nothing. All right? A few dollars. Okay? Now, you might say, well, it's a few dollars is a few dollars, right? I mean, hell, if he's coming over your house every week and doing co-op, what's fair is fair. Pay him what you're owed. We had this conversation. And the conversation was, okay, well, we're going to do this co-op content, but also there's going to be things that come up, right? Sometimes we're going to do other things. We're going to go on trips. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We had a situation here where I would have loved to pay him residuals, but we didn't know how to figure it out without an insane amount of number crunching and work for what essentially was going to amount to very little. All right?
Again, it's not exactly 50% if you throw that out there, but this goes on for a little while. Then he says to me, Machinima isn't sending me reports anymore, so I have no idea. I have no idea the amount of money that we're making on the co-op. I have no way of figuring it out. So I can no longer figure out this percentage that we agreed on. So I basically just go, okay, listen, throw me $100 every time I come down. Okay? And the way I come to this number is because round trip, it's about 2.5 hours of driving. Right? I'm there the entire day, and I have to buy a meal at some point. So give me $100 to kind of cover my expense. So if you really do the math, with gas and food and wear and tear in your car, $100 every time you come, you're not exactly profiting there. So just to flat out say you got 50%, it's far from true. It's far from the truth there. Like I guess it's half truth. It's a half truth. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, it's a half truth.
And we were trying to guess how much money videos are making or whatever. And John, after like a month of trying to guess and having difficulty doing it, said, all right, forget it. He's like, here's what we're going to do. Just pay me $100 a week. And I even said to him, I said, are you sure that's what you want? I in my head, I had a ballpark number. I wanted to pay him around $250 a week to come do what he did, because it was Smart Guys, the commentary show, and it was all the co-op we were doing. And I knew that he was driving. I knew it was gas cost involved both ways. He lived in New York, the state. I live in Connecticut. There's exorbitant amounts of gas cost there. Probably he was paying $20, $30, I would think, every couple of weeks for gas just for the trip. So I wanted to pay him more. That was the ballpark number I had in my head, was around $250 a week. Okay? And he said, no, I just want the 100. All right. That's our agreement. We're going to do the 100. By the way, I never offered him the 250. I got to clarify, because now I'm misconstruing it in the wrong way. Bullshit. Bad on you, Phil. Bad Phil. I got to call myself out on bullshit from now on. Bad Phil. I didn't offer him the 250. I asked him what he wanted, and he said 100. The 250 was a number in my mind. I never said it. I feel bad now because I said that. That's a lie. That didn't happen. He wanted 100. I said, I will give you what you want.
To make up for the lack of residuals and low payments for John and Rambo to have to drive out there all the time, DSP would pay for trips such as going to conventions and WrestleMania.
the unspoken rule, I mean, it wasn't that we put it down on writing, but we talked about it, is, all right, well, there's going to be situations where we're going to go on trips, right? I'm going to arrange for us to go to a convention. I'm going to arrange for us to go on a trip that I'm going to vlog or whatever. And the arrangement was that even though he wasn't getting paid any residuals for the content, I would try to pay for as much of that as possible, whether it was a hotel room, whether it was gas for his car because he was driving, but I would pay for the gas, whether it was plane tickets in some cases. That was kind of the rule that we had. I was the one making the money here, right? I would pay him 50% of the co-op income, and anything else that came of it would be in another form, and maybe intangible form, but you'd be able to go on trips and stuff. Like, that's what the agreement was, okay?
So when people want to throw other stuff out there, man, like you went to conventions and you paid for things. Again, like you go to conventions, you got to take time from work, which is I'm not getting paid for work. And we went to conventions, he's got an injury. He has a back injury. So I would go and I would carry things. I would film things. I did all the driving, as you know, and do whatever I could to help. I was coming as it's not just like, hey Phil, take me on this trip, and I'll fuck around and I'll sit by the pool. Came as basically to assist him in his business, as he likes to call it, right? Mm-hmm. So again, it's not me. That wasn't me complaining about, like, I should have gotten this, I should have gotten that, or anything else. It's just, like, again, it gets out there. He got half of what's made. But there's many more details in there that, are not given.
A lot of passive-aggressive stuff and all that stuff he just said. A lot of passive-aggressive stuff. The business, as he likes to call it. He has a back injury, or so he says, his back, right? Yeah. Everything there, everything I ever said was true. I had a back injury. It was severe. The thing is, I'm very, very good at hiding pain, right? You guys couldn't tell in my videos back then. Half the time when I was sitting around making a vlog, I was in shooting pain up my leg, numbness. It was bad, all right? I had a business. I was paying taxes. I was doing everything like you have to do with a business. But it's funny, all these insinuations, right? Oh, yeah, what he calls a business. That back injury he has and stuff. That's basically what he's saying by saying that stuff like that, okay? I basically bullshitted Machinima. And I told Machinima, listen, I need John to come with me to E3 because I need a cameraman because I have a debilitating back injury. Now, did I have a debilitating back injury? Yes. Did I need John to come to E3 with me to film and carry my shit? No. I could have done that myself. I bullshitted Machinima to get him into E3. We went to WrestleMania, okay? We knew going to WrestleMania in 2013, I paid for the gas. He drove. I paid for the hotel room. I paid for the WrestleMania tickets. Those were over $1,000 each WrestleMania tickets, okay? I didn't care. This was fun stuff I was doing with my friend. I wanted him to be along for the ride with me, okay? I didn't want him to feel left out because I was the one with his name on the channel. I wanted him to come with me and share these experiences with me. The WrestleMania trip was not a business trip at all. It was a friend trip for us to go experience WrestleMania together and sure, on the back end, come back and do a smart guys about it, right? But it absolutely, positively was not that. And he's saying every trip we ever went on, he was my work guy carrying my stuff and filming. That is completely false. The only trip ever that happened was E3. Do you want to know why that happened to E3? Because we had to bullshit Machinima to get him his pass. So they needed to see him following me along, carrying my bags and equipment. They needed to see him recording some stuff that I was doing so that we wouldn't get in trouble for getting him into E3, right? Outside of that, it was always friendship. It was about friendship, me paying for everything because I was the one making all the money on the channel, and friendship so that he could come with me. This statement he's making here is incredibly hurtful to me. Incredibly. Because it couldn't be further from the truth, at least from my perspective. Maybe that's how he saw it, but that wasn't what was happening. I can't believe he says this. Really, I can't. Oh, every trip that we went was full work for me and I was taking days off of work. Dude, it was us hanging out. And I paid for everything because you were taking time off of work to do it. You wanted to go. You agreed to all of it. Like, why is this an issue later? right?
After a couple episodes of Project 7, John Rambo would become a fan favorite and people would constantly comment about how much they liked him. The amount of attention that John was receiving would annoy Phil. Phil would make a video claiming that it was a group effort, but also state that he wrote one of the funniest moments for John Rambo's character.
In this teaser trailer, there's a funny scene featuring John Rambo, and everyone says it's the best part of the trailer. And I even saw a comment saying, "Wow, this is Rambo's the funniest thing." Guess what? I wrote that scene. It was my idea to put that scene in there.
Well, we got to touch on Project 7 because, again, there's things said publicly that kind of need to be, addressed. So it was a great experience in that, and then it kind of started to slowly erode away and fall apart, man. I'd say what really punched me in the face, man, that's what it basically was. Right before episode 3 is going to come out, doing my thing. This is going to be a common theme on this recording here, where I'm just kind of doing my thing, doing what I got to do in my daily life, and I start getting messages from people, and I go, "What the hell is this?" So, right before episode 3 comes out, Phil puts out a video. He's talking about Project 7, whatever, man. And he basically, it's just something he often says. He says, he'll set it up. I don't mean to badmouth. Don't take this the wrong way. But he says, "I don't mean to badmouth John Rambo. Don't take this the wrong way." And proceeds to talk about me. Talking about how John was given the best lines. And we gave him things to do. Because basically he's upset that people were in the comments saying that, John's the best part of this, or things like that, So yeah, he makes the video saying John was given things to do. He was given the best lines. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a flat out lie.
Yeah.
Flat out lie. He talks about a scene that he came up with. He's like, there's a part of the trailer everyone loves with John. I came up with that. And it's interesting because, the sentence before that, he's talking about how it's a group effort.
Yeah, and then he says that he came up with the lines or whatever.
The next sentence is, "I came up with that."
Yeah, which is nonsense. And like you said, going back to what you were saying, John, this is a common theme. Yeah. Because again, instead of addressing this, amongst ourselves, he addresses it publicly, which makes it even worse.
Yeah. He talks about a scene that the scene where he's like, there's a scene in this episode that a lot of people put together. John wasn't involved in it. Howard and OJ and some other people put it together. Of course, it was the great scene where you, what was it? You shoot the gentleman and then you say, you didn't wash your hands.
Yeah.
Okay. In all honesty, it was put together by you, OJ, and me.
Yeah.
And Andre and Paul filmed it and directed it. So basically, everyone was involved in putting that together but him.
Yeah.
Not Phil.
But it's just mind-boggling why he would do these things publicly.
Didn't say that. That's false. He says, "Oh, there's a scene in this episode that people put together. John wasn't involved in it." Didn't say that at all. I said there's a scene in this episode that's put together primarily by Howard and OJ and a few other people. It's this scene they're going to show. It's Howard and OJ acting it out, and then John had input in it. I never said John wasn't involved in it at all. He puts those words in my mouth because he's angry at me for basically apparently saying that he wasn't a good part of the series or didn't have as much influence as he did. That didn't happen. So I hate to say, but this is also kind of a theme in this video that they did about me. They take one thing that outright is undeniably true. Yes, I outright shouldn't have made that video. I outright said things in the video that were factually untrue. Then they spin it and say that I said something I didn't say. I never said John wasn't involved in that scene. I said it was primarily Howard and OJ, and I said other people, implying, yeah, he was involved too. So was Paul filming it. So was probably Andre, okay? They already did this previously. They said, "Oh, Phil said that we talked shit about him." No, I didn't. I said a bunch of dumb shit I shouldn't have said, but I never said you talk shit about me. And then you have a whole segment about it that I said you talk shit about me. I never said that. So this is a theme with this video is say a bunch of stuff that's true, but then all of a sudden throw shit out there that's not to kind of corroborate what we're saying. They didn't have to do that. They had enough. I fucked up enough. They didn't have to throw other shit on top of other shit when already there's a pile of shit, because I fell for the troll bullshit. over and over and over back then. They really got to me. They made me feel insecure. They made me feel like shit. They made me feel like everything I did was a waste of time. They were telling me it publicly all the time. They were making "This is how you don't play," saying all the content you ever made in gaming is worthless. You're a terrible content creator. You don't deserve success. And it got to me. And I made tons of mistakes like that. This is one case. There was tons of videos. This is the only one that they're involved in. There's tons of cases where you can see Phil got baited again. Phil got baited again. It happened all the time back then.
DSP would claim that at this time he was receiving negativity due to This Is How You Don't Play, but when he made that video, it was April 9th of 2012. This Is How You Don't Play wouldn't be released until 2013. DSP would also state that this was an orchestrated attack by detractors to trick him into bad-mouthing John Rambo.
Anyway, I'm going to play it, and this video is not defensible. This video is me once again, along with what Howard said earlier on, me falling for trolls trying to trick me into saying and doing stupid shit. What happened was this was actually a calculated attack to try to get me to say something dumb about John. I know for a fact, I found out later on, it was all orchestrated. They were literally trying to goad me repeatedly in video comments on my forums. They were all trying to say this shit to get me to basically piss off Rambo, okay? And I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Why am I ranting about this in the weekend preview, right? Because I got baited. Trolls orchestrated a situation on my forums where basically what they did is they went in there and basically started making posts on purpose to try to piss me off, and I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. It wasn't one post, it wasn't two, it was like a whole thread of these idiots coming over on my forums, baiting the shit out of me. There was absolutely no reason at all for me to say any of those things. At all. I should have ignored the trolls. I never, ever, 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 ever should have said any of that stuff. There was no point to it.
So I'm pissed off, man, at this point. And I think I talked to you first. I think I was ready to be done with the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the breaking points for the show to start ending. It was that, and it was that, and then after that,
slowly eroded from there.
Eroded from there, and then the erosion started getting substantially worse
because he saw people say, "Oh, John's the best," whatever, and that made him so upset.
Yeah,
now I'm angry.
No, I was angry because they were downplaying everyone else and basically saying the entire show was shit, which it wasn't. I was angry because I felt like it's particularly Respect the Pact was being disrespected with the things that the trolls were saying. No, I wasn't trying to downplay or insult Rambo at all, although some people definitely said it came out like that. And in addition, here we go again, right? What happened? The trolls messaged John. Hey, John, did you hear what Phil said? Because it worked. They tricked me. I said stupid shit in a video. Here we go. Send it right to John.
DSP would apologize to John Rambo in private, but he wouldn't make a public apology because he was afraid of the harassment he would get, and he thought that they agreed they wouldn't talk about this situation anymore.
So at this point, I'm really pissed off. So I call him. I call him immediately, and I fucking have it out with him, dude. I tell him everything I'm feeling about it, and I'm pissed off. So to his credit, he apologizes profusely. He says to me that he felt insecure, or he is insecure. He shouldn't have said it. He just got really frustrated with what they were saying, and he just couldn't take it anymore, and he had to say something, and he exploded. So he apologizes to me, and I accept it. But he never actually says anything publicly. There's no public apology. There's no clarification about what he said, how it wasn't exactly the truth.
Yep.
And then what basically happens is there's people that are his fans, and a lot of them not very bright. Let's be honest here. And they start shitting on me. They come at me and they shit on me because they think, oh, fucking, that's what Phil wants me to do, right?
Yep.
He wants me to do that. And again, why did I deserve that?
Yeah.
Wrong. It's the trolls. It's the same people who goaded me, go to Rambo, harass him, right? This is not my fans doing this. When have I ever told my fans to go do anything like that at all? Ever. And there's been people who've been outright wronged me on the internet. Like, outright did dastardly, fucked up, really nasty shit. When did I ever tell them to go do anything? Never. Now, what he's saying is, oh, well, Phil's fans aren't very bright. So when he makes that video and he doesn't publicly denounce what he said, they go and attack me. It's not my fans, dude. Those are the trolls. Now, he says, I never said anything public. He's correct. Until today, I never talked about this. Why? Because again, I'm the front man. I'm the public-facing figure. I want all that vitriol and shit tossed at me. So I think if I say anything further, I already made a stupid video that got us all into trouble. We hashed it out. By the end of the conversation, everything was fine. It was water under the bridge. Everything's fine. No lingering issues. Here's how we ended the conversation. Okay? Don't ever address it ever again. If you see criticism come in for the series, ignore it. If you see anything come in, just ignore it. That's what we agreed. So why, if that was our agreement, just ignore it, ignore the trolls, ignore all of it. Why after the fact would I have gone public and talked about it again? And so then he got harassed for it, and now he feels bad about it years later, like I was hiding the truth from the public. No. So we agreed not to talk about it again, so I didn't. And then now you're mad at me 3 years later because you got harassed for it online. You can be mad at me for being harassed, but don't be mad at me for not doing something that we agreed I'm not going to do, you know?
Behind the scenes, there were other people working on Project 7, mainly on special effects and editing, putting the most time into the project. Some of the notable ones that would be addressed here would be Respect the Pact and Andre. DSP would say that Respect the Pact did the most work, but DSP did the second most work by advertising Project 7.
These guys were working 50, 60 hours a week on getting this shit edited to try to pump it out with these unrealistic timelines.
So Project 7 was a lot of work for them. I don't think it was much work for us, despite what Phil would have talked about how hard the day was.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard for us. It was hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was one day of filming. Maybe 7 hours.
Respect the Pact put the most work into the show. I put the second most work into the show. Not because I wrote it, because I didn't. We did it together, and a lot of that was John. But I was the one who had to promote the show, who had to upload the show, who had to push the show, who had to advertise the show, who had to work with Machinima to get the show shown on Machinima channels, which we're not even talking about in this video, but I got the show try to get syndicated on Machinima and stuff like that. I was doing all that legwork with the show. So even though I didn't do as much work producing the show, like actually writing or filming, I was doing all the legwork to get it out there. So I did the second most work on the show. Now these guys are like, oh, our roles were easy. I'm glad they feel that way. My role wasn't easy, and neither was Respect the Pacts, okay?
Despite the amount of work they would put into Project 7, DSP would not pay them because he would state that's not what they agreed to and that they only wanted exposure for working on Project 7.
So you said it started to fall apart at that point. What do you think happens? Where do you
started to fall apart? And what was basically happening was these guys were working 50, 60 hours a week on getting this shit edited to try to pump it out with these unrealistic timelines. You know, These guys are putting all this time and effort into this fucking thing, and what do they get? Gugats. That's what they got. Because when you think about it, right, you would think, oh, because people are, when I say this, people are going to come back and say, well, Phil promoted their channel and that's all they wanted. No. Here's the bottom line, right? You would think out of the kindness of your heart, you would go ahead, damn, man, these guys are putting all this time and effort in this thing.
It's not even kindness, it's just what's fair is fair.
What's fair is fair. Let me throw them a couple of bones. Whatever the case may be, throw them some money here and there, some percentage of the profits.
So now I have to tell you guys the whole story, which, really is no one's business, but they're the ones who brought it up, not me. This video, for the first time ever, they reveal, the reason that the show ended is because Respect the Pact wasn't getting paid, okay? Completely false. It really is utterly, completely 100% false. I hate to say it. This is 100% baloney. So allow me to explain the whole situation of what really happened, okay? I didn't know about any of what they're about to discuss until they made this video. It was never brought up with me. It was never fully discussed at all. Never. It was never a topic of discussion ever. So if you don't tell me, I don't know. This is 3 years later, after this project ends, now you make a video exposing the truth of Project 7, but no one ever said this to me at all during the entire time this was going down. Okay? Now, let's talk. I'll tell you the truth of how everything went down with our arrangements. And it's not the show on the internet making the money, it's all the shit that comes after. The merchandise, the DVD sales, getting it syndicated on other channel networks and shit. That's where the money is. It's not the initial, I ran the show on my channel and got, so-and-so views. It's everything that comes after. We'll talk about, oh, let's divvy up revenue if there was ad revenue on the videos. We don't know if there will be, or if it'll even be popular. Let's talk about merchandise sales, DVD sales. The whole intention was, let's just get together. Let's make this thing. Let's fuck around with it. Let's put it out there on the internet and see if it gets popular. If it does, great. Then we'll talk long-term about money. We'll talk about splitting shit up. Respect the pact specifically. When we first met, said to me up front in the meeting, in front of everyone, we're not doing this for the money. We're not looking to make $1 on this series. What we want is we want our channel, Respect the Pact, to get attention from the series. We agreed that what I would do is do everything I possibly could to get their channel noticed, to give them credit for the work. And also, one thing that's never brought up whatsoever in this video whatsoever, which is absolutely ridiculous that they left it out because it's completely unfair. I got Respect the Pact partnered with Machinima so they could monetize their videos. They wanted their channel to be monetized. That was the agreement we had. Let's get Respect the Pact monetized. Now, we'll make Project 7 for you. We won't even care about the money you make on it, because we're going to try to make our own videos on our own channel that are going to start bringing us in revenue and our own revenue streams. In tandem with that, let's go ahead and you promote our content on our channel, and we'll make money on our own shit, and then we can do our own stuff later on, but we can have this nice collaboration with you, getting us the attention we want. On the back end, we'll talk about maybe selling DVDs and merch, and then later down the line, we'll talk further. That was the entire conversation we had. So if the episodes made any money, that money was going to be reinvested into the show, making merch, like making the shirts, making the DVDs. That's where the money was supposed to go. That was profit on the show. It was never, oh, well, we made an episode, and now there's 5 of us involved in making the episode. So you take the actual money you made from Machinima on that episode, you divide by 5, and everyone gets paid. That was literally never once discussed, ever. So for them to start this conversation here, saying basically, oh, Respect the Pact didn't get anything. Respect the Pact got exactly what they wanted. Literally to the T of what they asked for, that's what they wanted, and they got it.
They would quit the show due to the amount of time Project 7 was taking. John Rambo would advise Phil to give them money because it was the fair thing to do and might bring them back to the show, but mainly, it was the right thing to do to give them some money for all the effort they've put into the show. DSP would state that he didn't want to offer them money because he knew they wouldn't come back to the show no matter what, even if he offered them money, plus he didn't want to make it sound like he was trying to pressure them back into doing Project 7.
And this and that. So what ends up happening? John and I are talking about this, and John says, I'm going to talk to him. So what does John say? John goes up to him and says, dude, you know, throw him some money, man. These guys, if you throw them some money, they'll continue. If not, they're going to stop.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because like anytime there is a problem, I always do address it right to his face.
Yeah. So
which is not being said now.
What does he say? He has the audacity to say, "Oh, they didn't. I told them, or I asked them if they wanted money, and they denied it. That's a fucking load of shit."
Okay, so
because I talked to them afterwards about it.
So it gets to a point where it's a lot of work for these guys. They feel like they're not getting anything back. And they're not getting credit. They're not getting, monetized things, nothing. Okay. Something happened. Andre had basically a big life-changing thing. He's having a kid. Okay. Andre's going to have a kid. So they basically say, look, we can't do this anymore. We can't do the Project 7 anymore. It's just not, it's not worth our time, man. We got other stuff we got to do. So I had a conversation, like Howard said, I had a conversation with Phil. I said, listen, you have to make it worth their while, man. Throw them money. And I'm not saying throw them like thousands of dollars. There's already been, at this point, there was already 4 episodes that had come out, right?
Yeah.
Because we did four episodes that had come out. So I said, listen, just divvy up the money. There's 5 people in this. There's only 5 people, the crew and then the whole cast, okay?
Yeah.
The video's made a lot of money. If you look at the views, the amount of views, he gets paid on views. It's like $2 for every 1,000 views that he gets. So simply, figure out how much you made off all these videos. I know that Phil spent a lot of money on props and stuff, so subtract all the costs. That's fair, right? Subtract all your costs, then you have a number, and then split it the 5 ways and throw them the cash. Yep. And offer that to them. There's no guarantee that they're going to continue with the series, but hey man, at least try. And that's fair. His response, they don't want money. They don't want any money after this. Based on what he says, they told him that.
Yeah. And then I asked them about it, and they said he didn't even talk to them. And this is what I mean. There's no conversation.
Right.
He's saying that they wanted money, so John came to me and asked me to pay them, and I said no. That never happened. Okay, not once. That's completely untrue. It's a completely different sequence of events. They decided not to be part of the show first and outright said, we're done. They literally sent me an email that says, I read it last night. It said, we are done. We don't want to be part of the show anymore for personal reasons. They said some of it is because our channel, Respect the Pact, which was partnered at that point with Machinima, was not getting the views and attention and making the money that they had hoped it was going to do by being involved with this project. That was one factor. But then they also say in the same email, there's also other personal reasons keeping us from continuing with this project. Then John comes to me a few days later when we're doing our co-op session. He says, why don't you throw the guys some money? I said, here's the email. They don't want money. They outright say right in the email, they can't continue because of personal reasons. So if I now contact them and say, let's talk money, they're going to be like, did you even read the fucking email? We said we can't do it because of personal reasons. Like, you know, now the truth of the matter is I did arrange a meeting with them anyway. I did. I arranged a meeting with them where we were going to sit down and still talk about whatever was going on because I said, listen, I wish you guys the best. And I want you to know something. I appreciate all the work you put into the series. If we have this meeting, it's not going to be me pressuring you to come back. If you want to talk about that, that's something. But I would much rather say, hey, let's just have a conversation. And we, even if it's goodbye forever, have a nice life, at least we have the conversation. All right? And I got the shits. I ate leftover pizza and I was crabbing my brains out that day. So I had to cancel. And then I never rescheduled because, all right, you want to know the truth? I knew they were already done with the show for good. I could literally pull up the email they wrote to me and said, we are not continuing with the series. Yes, the money and the notoriety was a factor, but it's personal reasons that we cannot continue. He outright says, Andre's having a kid. And I was like, all right, if he's having a kid, how the fuck is he going to have 50, 60 hours a week to work on our show and hold down a job to pay to raise his kid? I get it. All right. Now let me get this straight. You want me to seem like a pushy jerk and go to them after they outright said, we basically quit. Here's the email in writing. We're doing it on purpose. They didn't call me and have a conversation. They wrote it in an email on purpose. So it was in writing. We quit. Okay. Now you want me to go back to them and try to be pushy and be like, well, what if I give you some money? Will you keep playing? Will you keep doing it? Will you keep doing it? No, he's having a kid. I don't want to bother him anymore. At this point, again, I have the email. I read it. Do you want me to be pushy to these guys and try to force them to be part of the project again by offering them money? That would seem pretty fucked up in my book. Like, I think that would be a terrible thing to do. They're telling me that we don't want to be involved anymore. You know, they didn't tell me Andre's going to have a kid. They told me that Andre's having a kid. So how the fuck is he going to work on the show anymore? He's the one doing all the editing, right? You want to talk money. This, in my opinion, is so fucked up. These guys don't know anything about the money made on videos on YouTube when it comes to what I was making on Machinima. They don't know anything about what I spent. I never wanted to talk about this. Now I have to, because he's gonna bring it up right there, Mr. Smiley up there, Howard. He's gonna bring it up next in the video. He's gonna start talking about T-shirts.
Project 7 would lose money because DSP would spend thousands of dollars on props. Though it would be questionable if these props were essential to the show, DSP thought they would be a good investment.
What did I spend on Project 7? Well, you could argue that every day that I worked on Project 7, pushed Project 7, I didn't make other content that I could have been making, right? I could have been making videos that were going to make tons of money, okay? And I didn't. That I'm not even factoring in here. Forget that. Throw that away. Strike that from the record. That's not even a consideration here. Okay. I bought props. In episode 3 of Project 7, you will actually see a large gun that's from Gears of War. That gun alone was around $300. I also invested in a ton of other props you guys have never fucking seen because we were supposed to keep doing this series. I bought a big ass assault rifle from Mass Effect. I don't even want to tell you how much that one was. That was the most expensive thing I bought. And that was exclusively supposed to be for this series. What am I going to do? Play with a fucking gun? It's supposed to be for the show. Okay? And you want me to be real about how much money Project 7 made. Okay? Project 7 made anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 in ad revenue profit from Machinima's payments to me, and Project 7 made me a grand total of about negative $1,000. I lost money on Project 7. It was a piss away project for me.
All of this would culminate into John and Howard feeling like DSP valued money over their friendship.
This is like a whole bunch of things that has happened in the past that just irritates people. Because now what ends up happening is like, do you value money more than our friendship? Because if that's the case, then why am I even here?
Right.
What is he talking about? What, do you value money more than our friendship? I wasn't making money on Project 7, and I also paid your way to go to conventions and shit. Like, what are you talking about? Again, he's like, oh, well, on top of all of that, there also should have been more money coming our way. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, when did I ever pick money over friendship? Ever.
No one would be paid for Project 7, except for John Rambo. John would be paid. DSP would claim that he lied to John Rambo about Project 7 making money because John needed money for his car troubles.
You know?
All right, so let me ask you, did you get anything out of the Project 7?
First of all, we're going to talk about that. I didn't get shit out of Project 7.
So no one got paid. Now here's the thing. I got paid.
John got paid.
I got my percentage.
Yeah.
There was at that time period, there was a point where my car had broken down, and I needed to get. Actually, I got a used car. I bought another car at that time. So I go, Phil, listen, I'm not coming to your house because I have no car. If you want me to come, throw me my percentage from the Project 7, and I'll use that cash towards a new car. And so I got my money. But there's, 3 other people, you guys, that got zero.
John Rambo did not get paid for Project 7. This is a lie. However, it's my fault. Because I was trying to be a nice guy and a good friend. So I didn't have the heart to tell John Rambo that Project 7 lost me money. What was I going to say? I can't pay you, John, because Project 7 lost me money. I made lost money on this project, so there's nothing to give you. Sorry, you have no car now. No, here's what I did. I said, okay, John, I'll do that for you. And I pretended to make calculations that didn't exist. And then I sent him the money he wanted. I don't even remember how much it was. I know it wasn't a lot. It was probably, hundreds of dollars. I don't know. I don't remember these things. I just sent him money because I wanted to help my friend. It had nothing to do with the profits of Project 7 at all. That's how he spun it. But he didn't know that there were no profits. And I was lying to him, basically saying, here's your cut. There was no cut. All right? Years later, this is his evidence to say that I was, why did I pay him and not others? Like, this is a bad thing that I did. I helped out my friend, and I get crucified for it years later. You know what I'm saying? Like, this whole Project 7 thing was nothing but fucking trouble for me. For what? I just wanted to have fun with my friends. I thought we were going to do a fun project together, and all I get is get, attacked for it. It's excruciatingly exhausting.
John and Howard would reiterate it's more about the gesture than the money. DSP's friends had worked hard on Project 7, and giving them money would have been a form of respect because they believed it was still profitable. DSP would be slightly confused about what they wanted and said if they really wanted money, they could have just come to him and asked for the money.
Hold on, let me hit the brakes for 1 second, because we're talking about money and we should have gotten money.
Yep.
Like you say, it's not about the money, it's like what's fair.
It's what's fair, yeah.
Like you have a job, I got a job. Those guys are like, no one's homeless here, no one's like destitute, and we're like, oh man, Project 7, we need to make this to pay our bills, or we need to make videos to pay our bills. It's nothing to do with that. Like, we don't necessarily need the money, okay?
But
it's fair because as friends, you would expect to be treated with respect, and you tried hard on this.
But
this is your cut.
Here's the thing:
since we're a team, as you said, and we all did it together, and it's not one person. It should be fair, and it should be divvied up. What's fair? Okay, so what's fair? Did they really want me to divvy up negative $1,000 and give them bills each for $200? And you can argue, all right, well, Phil, you invested all that money, but that's on you. Fair enough. If any of them came to me and said, hey, we'd like to get paid, we need the money, I would say, okay, and I would have paid them. And it would have been out of my pocket. Out of the videos that I made, had nothing to do with Project 7, I still would have paid them. Okay? I did that with John. There's your evidence right there. John just said, I did it. I would have done that with any of them. So what's fair? Well, it earned nothing. It lost money. But if you want to get paid for it, let me know. I'll pay anyway.
No one ever did, besides John that one time he wanted money for the car. No one else ever said a word to me about it. Respect the Pact wrote me an email saying we quit and it's not about the money, it's a personal issue. I don't get it. I'm really lost here. I'm definitely utterly lost. I just don't understand it. And maybe it's me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot.
One thing that would upset John and Howard would be DSP spending money on a BMW and gaming statues rather than giving money to his friends that worked on Project 7. DSP would say that he was spending the money from his other videos, and if they really wanted money, they should have asked for it.
We go ahead. We don't get our cut, which is whatever at this point. But we start showing up to your house, and what do we see? The guy starts buying figurines, starts buying all this ridiculous shit that there's no need to buy. Then we show up to his house one day, and what does he have in the fucking driveway? A BMW. So how the fuck do you think I feel, and how do you think these guys feel after the fact? Is there anything, do you not understand how this burns people when they put all their freaking hard work into this, and you're making all the money and the glory, and none of us ain't making shit?
Yeah, it's more about respect and being fair.
It's about respect, man. You have no respect for your friends, for your family. You don't give a shit about anybody but yourself.
That's and maybe that's not even true. Maybe it's not true, but that's how it comes off.
Yeah.
And that's what you're expressing to other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're not.
How do you think people feel?
You're not thinking about others and how it affects them.
It's the thing is nobody's jealous. Nobody's nothing. It's when people make money. One person makes money off the back of everybody else.
And on top of you're putting videos out there, we're going, I did that.
Yeah.
I came up with that, and it's like, no, you didn't. These guys worked hard to put that together.
Worked hard to put that together.
You didn't
yeah.
actually come up with that.
I have no respect for my friends and my family. I don't care about anyone but myself. It's interesting. It's very interesting that he would say that. Okay? And absolutely, my house is filling up with stupid statues and dumb shit. And today, I've already told you guys a million times, I was frivolously spending my YouTube money on junk that I didn't need. And long term, it was a waste of time and money. I never should have done it. I know that now. Back then, I thought, oh, it's a new prop for a video or something. I was justifying it in a really stupid way. Okay. The BMW part, I never owned the BMW. I leased it. We could talk about this till we're blue in the face. It doesn't matter. The issue is they're showing up to my house and there's stuff in the house. I'm spending money, but I'm not paying them for their work. Okay? The stuff in my house is stuff that I bought with the other time that I'm making videos on YouTube. You know how I worked 7 days a week with no time off at all? It's like Howard somehow forgets that I have a channel that brings in, millions of views a month. He forgets that there's insane amounts of other content on it. All I was doing was Project 7, according to this guy, Like, essentially what he's saying is, we need money. But we won't say it. We never asked for it. You should have just given us money, because you were making money. I wasn't making money on Project 7. I was making money on literally everything else that I was putting on the internet. I was losing money on Project 7, but he wants money. So Howard, ask me for money. Say, I would like to be paid for Project 7. I would say, well, we never talked about it. It never was supposed to be a concern or an issue, but if that's how you feel, fine. John did. He got paid. Respect the Pact told me we didn't want the money. We're quitting because we have personal reasons. If they had said, hey, Phil, we want money, they would have got paid. Right? It's just ridiculous. You want money? I'll give you money from what I'm earning outside of Project 7. I'm okay with that. You guys put a lot of work into the series. Great. I understand that. But you're asking for money that doesn't exist. You weren't entitled to because we didn't have an agreement in place about that. So why would I just start giving you money? It didn't make any sense. The money was coming on the back end. If we continued with the series, there would have been DVD sales. There would have been T-shirt sales, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Don't worry. And then he's coming in to my house looking at statues in a car, and he's pissed at me. You're pissed at me for what? Did you not see my channel? My channels? At that point, I have multiple YouTube channels. Millions upon millions of views. Not Project 7 views. All my other content was making those views. It's ludicrous what he's saying here. It's absolutely ludicrous what he's saying here. Okay? And then you have no respect for your friends or your family. Why? Because I bought statues with my money that I earned with my videos? What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, by the way, we're going to another convention next week that I arranged for, and I'm paying for the hotel room and the gas for. So, oh, you'll come into that, right? Like, what the fuck?
DSP would make t-shirts for Project 7 and Howard would invest $300 into the shirts. Ultimately, these t-shirts wouldn't make them money, so Howard and DSP would give up on selling them. 3 years later, DSP would resell them and make them Patreon goals to give out to patrons.
All right, so let's get back to the shirts thing, dude, because this is
The shirts.
disastrous.
So we get together and we decide let's make t-shirts, So we all put money together, and I'm gonna throw out the figure. It was about $900.
Okay,
So
I had no idea.
$300 per person. We put the money together.
Wrong. $900. Here's what happened. During the initial work on episode 1, all of a sudden, Respect the Pack sends me these logos. I didn't ask for them. They just sent them to me. I said, what are these? They said, oh, these are the t-shirt logos that Howard wants. What? Oh, these are the t-shirt logos that Howard's talking to them about making because we're going to sell t-shirts. Huh? We didn't even discuss this. We didn't have any ideas for logos. Nothing. I purposely said, no, if we're going to do shirts, let's go with the designs that have all of us or our character that we created together, Deathface. Actually, it's not true. I created Deathface for the original Project 7, but then we redesigned him for Project 7, the reboot, and that was a work of all of us. But I said, if we're going to sell merch, it's going to be merch that's all of us together. It's not going to be just me on the shirt. I want it to kind of be all of us collectively because it's all of our work together. So at the time, there's a discussion. All right, well, Phil already bought the shirt, so who wants in? I already bought them. Who wants in on this investment that I've already fronted all the money for? Howard says, I want in. I'll pay $300. John says, I can't do that. I can't afford it. So John was never involved with the shirts, the money making of the shirts or anything like that. It was only Howard who had invested this $300, okay?
Then we start figuring out, we go to these conventions, we do this, and that. The t-shirts aren't selling. So whatever, I'm going to cut my losses. I don't give a shit. Right? He comes up to us. We're talking about it. He's saying we're not making any money. We sold only a few t-shirts because when you thought about it, once you sold the t-shirts, you were going to make a decent amount in profit. So we're not making any money. So we're just going to have to cut our losses. Whatever. At that point, I accept that.
You heard what he just said. The t-shirts aren't selling. All right, whatever. I'm going to cut my losses. I don't give a shit. So that's the end of the story, right? There's no more t-shirts involved. That's it. That's the end.
Comes up to us, we're talking. He leaves Connecticut, and he moves to Seattle. He gets to Seattle, he starts doing this Project 7 reboot thing that he's doing, making videos, doing all this stuff. Then I start finding out that he's reselling t-shirts. or he's giving them out.
It was for his Patreon.
For a Patreon.
As far as I understand, I could be wrong here, so if I'm wrong, please correct me.
Yeah.
Anyone out there, but for his Patreon, but the problem is he doesn't actually own the shirts completely.
Yeah, he doesn't own the shirts completely, so he's giving them out. Now, I don't know if he finished giving them out, or if he managed to sell all of them, or if he sold them, or whatever the case may be. But when I start hearing about stuff like that, or I see videos of him posting that stuff, naturally, what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to get irritated beyond belief. Yeah. Now.
So he's taking shirts that your face is on the shirt.
Yeah.
He has to physically look at your face as he packages the shirt and then mail it as he goes to mail it and never for a second thinks, wait a minute, this person paid for a percentage of the shirt.
Yep.
And on top of that, the logos, the actual shirts are made by Andre. He's not getting anything.
Right here, what you probably cannot read is what was actually on my Patreon at the time. Pledge $100 or more per month. Patreons or patrons who donate $100 or more a month will receive one of the remaining Project 7 t-shirts from their limited run in 2012. Supplies and pictures are very limited, so the first come, first serve. Okay. Originally, it was $100. Later on, it was lowered to dramatically less, to $20, I believe. It was either 20 or 30, in which case I was losing money. I'm not kidding. Again, here we go again. Me losing money. Had these shirts up as a Patreon perk, and the cost to ship them worldwide, which was supposed to be included with the cost of the perk, was more than the cost of the shirt. So you have people pledging $20, $30, and it was costing me $40, $50 to ship it worldwide. But they're purposely telling this story out of order to make me look bad, and then they try to fix it after the fact, but it doesn't make sense because the story's already told. The damage is already done. When you watch this video, wow, Phil stole those shirts and sold them later on for profit, but he didn't own them all. Actually, I did, and you'll find out how in a moment.
Howard would ultimately consider this a wash because he would get an arcade boot from DSP and he would keep it after repairing it. Howard would claim that Phil asked for the arcade boot back after he had repaired it, but he kept it and refused to give it back to Phil because he considered it payment for the $300 he invested into the T-sheets. DSP would state that Howard is lying and that it's the troll's fault that Howard thinks he got ripped off. He would also ask why Howard is even involved with this video.
And I'm sure his response will be something like, I don't remember that you paid, or I don't know, are you never, maybe he'll say you never brought it up to me, but you shouldn't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you shouldn't have to now.
You really shouldn't have to call him and go, Phil, give me the money from my percentage of the shirt.
Yeah. Now, the way that I look at it, for now with this, it's a wash. And this is why it's a wash. He comes, Phil shows up and he's like, yeah, we're at his house and we're looking at some of his stuff and I found a Super Turbo board. He has a blue one. So we're like, oh, I didn't know you had a Super Turbo board and this and that. And he goes, I don't even know if this thing works anymore. So we plug it in. We go to the house. We bring it over to the house. We plug it in. It's dead. Mm-hmm. Right? So CPS2 has a battery. The battery dies. The board dies. So he goes to me. He's like, man, I can't really do anything with it. You can keep it. If you can fix it, just keep it. Right? So what do? I got a friend of mine that lives in Manchester. Right? He goes, I call him up. I met him online, Bill. And Bill goes, yeah, just come by. I'll revive the board, right? So I throw him I think it was like 30 or 40 bucks, right? He goes, revives the boards for me, rewrites the EEPROMs, gets rid of the battery. Board works fine, right? Mm-hmm. So one day he comes up and we start playing ST. I said, I managed to get that board up and running. All right, so when are you going to give it back to me? You just told me you're going to give me the fucking board. What do you mean give it back to you? What, are you out of your mind? I just paid $40 to revive this, and you think I'm going to give it back to you? Okay. Mm. So, and then right after what happens, the T-shirt thing happens.
Yeah.
So you know what I say? Fuck it, I ain't giving you shit back. So I'm keeping a board, right, for the T-shirt, for the $300 that you owe me in fucking T-shirts.
Okay, time for the real story in the real order that it happened, okay? Years ago, we were all playing Super Turbo together, and one day, John and Howard over at my house, I don't remember for what, probably a co-op or something. Howard's looking all over my house, don't ask me why, and he finds a Super Turbo board under my bed. So one day, John and Howard are over my house. Howard's snooping around, finds this board under my bed. Says, what the hell is this doing here? Are you going to ever use it? I said, nope, probably not. He said, does it work? I said, I don't know. Can I have it? Sure, why not? Take it. I don't care. What do I give a fuck about, right? Take it. It's useless. It's under my bed. I'm not going to run any more Street Fighter tournaments. Go ahead, take it. Okay? Phil wants it back. No, I don't want to. What do I want the board back for? I don't have a cabinet. What the fuck do I want a Super Turbo board back for? Okay? I'm never going to use it. It's sitting under my bed collecting dust bunnies. You recharge the battery. You're using it in your house on a cabinet. Why would I ask for the board back? I don't remember asking for the board back. If I did, I would think it would have been in a joking manner. But apparently, Howard hates my guts so much that he doesn't understand that. Okay? But I didn't want a Super Turbo board back from this guy. He essentially just had it for free. Okay? Howard says to me one day, because I'm moving, right? I'm moving across the country. He goes, I still got your Super Turbo board. And just so you know, you never paid me for the $300 for the shirts that never sold, but it was a wash. It's okay. But in exchange for that, I'm going to keep your Super Turbo board because we use it. We got it on my cabinet. We use it. So I'm just going to keep that. And I said, that sounds like a great idea. Now we don't have to worry about, money owed and shit between friends when I move. You keep the board. I keep the shirts. It's a wash, right? There you go. He has this, weird notion in his mind that he's like a badass and he's, sticking it to everyone around him who's wronged him and all this. This stuff never happened, man. Never. He's, in person, Howard is the nicest person you will ever meet. But it seems to me like behind your back, he's probably one of the meanest dudes. I can't believe the shit he's saying in this video. That's blatantly lies. Okay? Blatantly lies. Where the fuck does this story come from? Right? I'll tell you where the story comes from. The trolls. When I started putting up those shirts on my Patreon, which I owned once, twice over, paid the shit out of them at this point. Okay? Trolls start, but you don't own those. Those shirts don't just have your face on them. There's John and Howard on it. Don't you feel bad selling those shirts on Patreon? Which I wasn't selling them. They were patron perks, okay? They weren't actual outright sale. I wasn't selling a T-shirt on the internet, okay? Don't you think that, that's messed up? No, it's not messed up. It's not. I own the shirts way over the cost of what they should have been to begin with. You want to say Phil fucked up Project 7 because he was talking shit publicly about he wrote it all. Fact. That's a fact. Maybe not in so many of those words, but that's a fact. Phil did not directly pay us for Project 7. That's a fact, except for Rambo, who got paid even though there was no money. I paid him to basically get a car. It's a fact. Phil sold shirts he didn't fully own. That is a bull-faced fucking lie. That is 100% fake. He made it up because he wanted to razz me. He wanted to get me. They were upset with the fact that over the years they didn't like me anymore. They had this built-up resentment. I had a shirt with their faces on it. I owned them fully. But he wanted to say, oh, Phil is such a jerk. He owed me money. I didn't owe him shit. I still don't owe you shit. Okay? You're out of your mind. This guy, again, why is he in this fucking video? This video was supposed to be the friendship of me and John Rambo. And he has fully interjected himself into this situation as a third party that was barely involved in the issues between me and John Rambo, yet he's the one narrating. He's the one telling the story. Like, what is going on here?
Howard would recount the time about DSP guilting him into going to his going away party prior to DSP moving to Washington. DSP admitted that he would guilt trip Howard into coming because Howard was just making up excuses and DSP was just calling him out.
And going back, I wanted to touch a little bit on that whole moving thing, I was a little upset. I was very upset at the fact that he sent me a text message like last minute asking me to do like a co-op with him. And basically, actually, let me retract on that. Basically, I think what ended up happening was I got caught, like he sent me a text message, I agreed to it. And I think I got caught in like a jam with something. And I told him, I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. I got some stuff going on and this and that. And basically, he makes me feel like shit because he writes back. He goes, well, if you don't show up, it just basically solidifies the fact that we're not friends.
Wow.
And dude, he made me feel like shit. Like seriously, like shit.
Yeah.
So what I said was I was something I had to do with Jasmine. I told Jasmine, I go, listen, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna end up going just saying the guy's leaving, and whatever. So we go. We do our playthrough or whatever, right? So he goes ahead after the fact, never sends me a text message, doesn't call me, doesn't ask me how I'm doing.
From when he moves.
So from that point, I sent him a couple of text messages here and there, and I'm gonna go into something, John, because this basically goes in line into what we were talking about.
Yep.
So I sent him text messages, some random ones, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving. Doesn't reply back. So I thought that he changed his number.
Okay, so he moves in June.
Yeah.
You never hear from him again, basically.
So I never hear from him again. So
I did not have a close personal friendship with Howard. I think what happened was during the course of Project 7, Howard started to hate me. Okay? He just hated my guts. He was mad that I was making so much money and they didn't make anything on Project 7. He was mad that apparently I owed him money for the shirts. He was mad about a lot of things. I get the feeling there's a lot of resentment there, and he basically was very angry that, I don't know, maybe I had things he didn't have. Who knows? I don't know because he never told me, okay? Along these lines, at the same time this is all happening, Howard was infamously known as the guy that when you invite him for something or he says he's going to do something, he cancels, okay? Not just me saying this. Everyone says this. We were supposed to have 2 events. One was going to be a final co-op where Howard and John were going to come back and we were going to do co-op gameplay. This was agreed to weeks in advance. This was not supposed to be my go-away party, okay? It wasn't. This was agreed to like, this is going to happen, one of the big playthrough, final big co-op shebang or whatever, okay? All right? Now, John says, I don't know, Phil. I don't know about this, he does this all the time. He says he's going to show up. He's not going to show up. Last minute, within 24 hours of this event supposed to be happening, all right? he tries to cancel. Does he have like oh, now by the way, it's fully known I'm moving. This is it. This is the last thing we will be involved in together. This is the last hurrah, the goodbye. Phil, thanks for everything. Have a good life in Washington. We'll, hopefully we'll talk or whatever when you move or whatever. So, fine. Okay. He tries to cancel. He texts me and says, oh, I got caught up with something I'm doing with my girlfriend. I can't come. I was like, dude, I knew this was going to happen. So, I texted him and I said, Howard, now this is me paraphrasing. I don't have the text anymore. It's basically, Howard, I'm going to be honest with you. All right. I don't know if you got a problem with me or not. I don't understand what's going on. I definitely have noticed a change in attitude towards me these last few years. All right. I don't know. It's a personal issue with you on your side. If I did something wrong, I have no idea. I wish I knew. Okay. But this is literally the last time that you can spend with me before I move. We may never even see each other in person again. So this is it. This is like the goodbye celebration for us to do this final cool playthrough. It'll last in history forever. Whatever this thing is that you're doing with your girlfriend. I don't know if it's important or not. If it's important, fine. Tell me that. Say this is a really important event. I need to be with it, with my girl or whatever. If that's what it is, that's what you're telling me here. Okay, I'll accept it. But, if this is just you dodging me, like, think about how messed up that is. Like, this is you essentially saying you don't value all the years of friendship that we've had anymore. Is it a guilt trip? Fuck yeah, it is. Fuck yes, it is. I guilt tripped him because I couldn't believe that someone who I supposedly was friendly with all these years, we've done all this work together. We had all these fun times together outside of the work as Super Turbo players, as Street Fighter players, as friends, I thought. Okay. I thought that this would have been something meaningful to him. This is the last chance you will ever see me, possibly. And you're telling me you can't show up within 24 hours of when you said you would already be here because you have to do something with your girlfriend. Howard didn't want to say no because he thought that I would then probably publicly say to my audience, Howard doesn't want to come. He didn't want to deal with the repercussions of that, right? He didn't. So he lied. He said he wanted to come till the very last minute, and then he felt, oh, I'm just going to cancel on him again like I always do. And I called him out on his bullshit for once. And I said, no, you're lying. You don't have anything to do with your girl. You don't. I know it. I know you're full of it. So it's that simple. You're lying to me. I'm not dumb. So if you ever cherished our friendship, you'll actually come and say goodbye, or else don't come, in which case I know that you don't like me anymore. Okay? This guy is like, it seems to me like this guy is behind the scenes of anything. He will talk shit about you. He will fucking do whatever. But when it comes to being presented with the person you have a problem with or the issue, there's nothing, right? I couldn't believe it, man. I really couldn't believe the way he was behaving near the end there. It was out of control, all right? So he's presenting it to me as a plain lie. Oh, I'll make it. I'll come. Last minute. Oh, I can't come. You're lying. You didn't want to come to begin with, or else, like, why did you lie to me for the whole time? I would have just told everyone, no, Howard isn't coming. Big deal. I would have been sad. It's pretty messed up that he acted like that and basically was passive aggressive to me for about 2 years since Project 7 ended, increasingly more and more and more. All right. And now he's a hard ass, right? Oh, I demanded that I keep his Super Turbo board to pay for the shirts. That didn't happen. Oh, I couldn't go to his final gathering ever. And he didn't understand. No, Howard, you lied to me. You said you were coming. And then you canceled last minute for something arbitrary. It's the last time you're ever going to see me. If I'm your friend, you would come. It's ridiculous. Anyone who's a friend with someone would say, what is he talking about here? He can't go to the last time he's ever going to see this guy ever? Maybe in life? He can't make it. Oh, okay. Well, your car exploded, right? Your house burned down, or, someone's in the hospital. Oh, no, I got caught up. I got to do something with my girl. Oh. That's like teenager shit. That's like, that's shit that you tell someone you don't care about them at all. That's some dumb shit excuse you make. The dog ate my fucking homework. Oh, my girl said something. What are you talking about, man? I'm not stupid. I'm not born yesterday. And it really pissed me off. So, yeah, that was lastly the last real interaction that I had with Howard. So that relationship is done. The relationship, again, that I had was with Rambo. We had planned, we were talking, we were friendly, we were going to do content together, right? So the whole thing here with Howard makes no sense. Yet again, he keeps taking control of this video. He keeps acting like all this stuff is about him. It was never about him, ever. It never. The issue was never with Howard. It was with Rambo ghosting me. That was the issue. I wasn't desperately trying to reach out to Howard and I couldn't get a good anything out of him. It wasn't the case at all. Okay?
Howard and John would both be upset with DSP for monetizing the death of their friends, Scott and T. At the end of 2015, Howard would text DSP about Scott passing away. DSP would make a hate live podcast with a segment dedicated to Scott, monetizing the whole video. DSP would recount how much Scott and T had an effect in his life while growing up. It would go on to say that he received a lot of hate trying to pay tribute to them, and that he really just wanted to tell their story since they were gone now. Phil would go on to say that he monetized every video back then and he didn't see the big deal of having their tributes monetized.
December 29th rolls around last year.
Yeah, 2014.
And I get, in 2014, and I get a message from Chris and a few other people
and I did too.
That Scott passed away.
Yeah, I start getting messages from Chris. You called me as well.
Yeah.
So you should set it up because it has to do with the Street Fighter community.
It has to do with the Street Fighter community.
Which is a group of people and we don't talk every day to everybody.
Yep.
But it's a group of people that is kind of like a brotherhood, if you will. It might sound silly, but that's what it is to us. It's a brotherhood of people that spend a lot of time together playing games and traveling and whatnot. And when something like this happens, everyone contacts each other and we talk about it.
And we talk about it. So
one of the brothers has fallen.
Yeah. So the guy passes away, right? So what do? I sent him a message.
And you're the only one, by the way, because I wasn't going to contact Phil because I wasn't talking to him at this point.
Yeah.
Nobody else wanted to talk to him. But Howard here, who hasn't heard from Phil at that point, many months since he moved, you decide I'll be the one to tell Phil.
Yeah, so I send him a message, and I go, I didn't say anything hi or anything like that. The only thing, because the last time I did that, he didn't reply back to me. I said, hey, Scott passed away. That's all I wrote. Mm-hmm. Doesn't reply back to me. Then, this is what fucking burns me, okay? Yeah. This shit fucking burns the fuck out of me. What does the guy do? A week or two later, makes a video about Scott passing away. Dude, don't fucking publicize somebody's death. Are you fucking serious? You don't do that, man.
And the bigger issue is, like, he never said anything back to you.
Doesn't say anything back to me, but dude, don't publicize.
Thanks for the information. I'll put this in the video, but I'm not going to say nothing to you.
Not only that, what does he do? He brings up T, right? Now, T at the time was like one of the greatest Street Fighter players in our area. If he was alive, he probably would have been one of the top players in the country, okay? And he starts fucking talking about this guy, right? So what does that do? Naturally, in our circle of friends, everybody is fucking fuming because there was no need to bring up T. There was no need to bring up Scott. There's no need to bring up people's deaths and publicize it and make money off of it. There's no need for that, man. And he did. You have no respect for people that are alive, for fucking people that are dead. You don't give a shit about anybody but yourself.
So there you go.
Yeah. This is what dude, if one of my friends died, I wouldn't be making a video about it. I wouldn't be publicizing their death.
Yeah.
This is terrible, man. Terrible.
Yeah, it's dirty business, man.
It's dirty.
It's dirty.
After that, I don't fucking talk.
That was it for you.
That was it for me, man. Yeah. That was it for me.
Okay.
I thought a long time about how I was going to respond to this part. Rather than directly respond to it, I think what I like to do is I'd like to tell you a story. Quick one. About me growing up in Connecticut and, you know, going to arcades and having that first real feeling of like, Like belonging in a group?
DSP would go on a long story talking about how T had a massive influence on his life and influenced him to be a Street Fighter competitor. Joining the fighting game community, Phil would have a sense of belonging, something he hadn't felt as a child and young adult, as he was ostracized from most other groups.
Scott was such a unique dude. T was such a unique guy. And they're not with us anymore. And that's not fair. There were positive influences on this planet. And they're not with us anymore. That's life, man. The best of us get taken way too early. And the rest of us are just stuck here, right? But previous to me making this video about Scott, which I didn't make a video about Scott, let me clarify that. That's a segment of a podcast that I did. One segment, okay? Was the podcast monetized? Of course it was. Everything that I put out was monetized at that time. It was how I made my living, okay? I wasn't doing interactive streams with contributions during them at that time. Everything at that point was ad revenue. That's how I made my life, my living, okay? It's how I paid for everything. I wanted to do a tribute to him in the best way that I could, knowing that well that my audience was not going to know who he was, right? And I did the same thing with T, by the way. And I don't have that for you. I don't want to play that for you. That's already been that's not the subject matter of this video that we're reacting to today, okay? Someone came to me one day at not a tournament, excuse me. I think it was a convention. It could have been a tournament. And they handed me a packet of photos. The packet of photos was his personal packet. He said, "Phil, I want you to have this." I said, "What is this?" He goes, "You know, these are pictures of T. And actually, Scott's in a couple of them, too." He said, "I'd like you to have these pictures because I know you were a friend with T. And you have the ability on YouTube. You have the reach, the clout. You can share his story with people on the internet. So, you know, not only a lot of people know about T, because he didn't get to live that long. And you can be the person to tell his story." So I did. I made a video on a podcast just like that. And I had scanned the pictures into my computer. Okay? And I shared it with the world. The podcast doesn't get a lot of views. Okay? The podcast maybe got 10,000, maybe 20,000 views tops. Okay? I thought I did a good job doing a tribute to T. Alright? And I did as best I could. I was haunted by T's death for a very long time. I actually feel like it was one of the reasons why I originally had depression. Because it happened to me at a time in my life when, my God, I hadn't dealt with death or loss. And although everyone in Connecticut was hurting at the time when he died, I blamed myself for it. I don't know if I ever told this story before to anyone. But the day when T died, I met him at the mall before he was murdered. And he was saying to me, "Oh, we're going to go over someone's house and we're going to play some games or whatever." And I had a car, by the way, at the time. I had a car. And he basically offered, "Hey, you know, you want to come with us or whatever?" And I was like, no, I couldn't or whatever. I actually don't remember the specifics. And he was like, "All right, cool." Because I was thinking maybe I could get a ride with you if you could drive us over there or whatever. And I was like, "No, I can't do it. I'm busy or whatever, you know. Who knows? There's a kid who I've seen a million times before. I'm going to see him a million times again in my life, right?" That day, he was walking home from playing Street Fighter at this kid's house. And a gang member decided to shoot him for no reason. I guess, you know, there's all kinds of guesses. And I guess the rumor that hit the streets was that this gang member, this was their initiation. Oh, prove that you're hard enough to be part of our gang by just murdering someone in the fucking street walking home. He got shot. Okay? And I blame myself because I said if I had hung out with T that day and I had driven him to his friend's house, I could have driven him home. and maybe he wouldn't have got shot. Now, of course, that's ridiculous. I didn't shoot the kid, right? We all know we're all rational people here. We're rational adults. But this is what happens in your fucking head, okay? Until I moved out of Connecticut, it was haunting me. It was causing me mental problems. Before I moved out of Connecticut, I drove to his grave and couldn't get out of the car. I didn't say goodbye before I left because I couldn't do it because I was too fucking weak. Because I was so haunted at losing this guy. And this was many years later. He died in the late 90s. This was 2014, and I couldn't do it. Okay? So when I made that tribute about T, all right, I was trying to make up for it. I was trying to be like, I was so sorry that I couldn't say goodbye to him because I wasn't man enough to do it. And I wanted to make a tribute video about it. And I thought I was doing the right thing. When I made that tribute to T in that Hate Live podcast, okay, I received more hate towards me than I think I'd ever dealt with before in my life. My trolls basically spun it and said, you have monetized your friend's death. You are scum. You're a piece of shit. All right? I actually had a couple people who reached out to me after I did that tribute to T and said, Phil, thank you. Because we knew T back in the day, and seeing those pictures put a smile on our face and we remembered him. Okay? And that was really nice of you to do it that way because you didn't have to, you know. And, you know, now more people know T's story. So people who knew T were contacting me and thanking me. All right? Now, you say I monetized someone's death. All right? I don't know how worse you could be of a person to say something like that. All right?
Notably, DSP would receive donations through Super Chats while speaking about T's death. He had previously stated that this livestream would be demonetized, yet he was still receiving monetary contributions.
For more people on this planet to know about T than less. All right? Okay? When I made that tribute to T in that Hate Live podcast.
Another moment that would draw interest would be DSP saying that he made this tribute video after moving to Washington because he couldn't say goodbye to T while he was in Connecticut.
Before I moved out of Connecticut, I drove to his grave and couldn't get out of the car. I didn't say goodbye before I left. So when I made that tribute about T, I was trying to make up for it. I was trying to be like, I was so sorry that I couldn't say goodbye to him because I wasn't man enough to do it. And I wanted to make a tribute video about it. And I thought I was doing the right thing.
This would be false, as DSP had done the tribute to T at the end of April of 2015. DSP moved to Washington at the end of June the same year. DSP had nearly 2 months to say goodbye to T at his gravesite.
I had already gotten shit for making the tribute about T in a previous podcast. So you might say to yourself, why would Phil, if I already got that hate, if he already got all that shit tossed his way, why would he make a second podcast when Scott passed away? Someone who was very much in that close circle of friends. All right? Why did I do it? Because I don't care about what they say. I care about Scott. I want more people to know about Scott. I care about the memory of Scott. Were there ads on that podcast? Of course there were. There's ads on every video I had. I was still partnered with Machinima at the time. And so all the videos that I had those ads on them, you know. And I could have removed the ads. All right? Personally, I just don't see, I mean, I'll be honest here, I don't see the big deal. When you're doing a 2-hour podcast, a 3-hour podcast, and you're doing one tribute segment to someone, all right? Does that mean that the whole thing has to be, you know, demonetized? And you can argue either way. That's up to you. You can argue that. That's fine. You can say, yes, it should be. All right? My take on it is, if you're going to do that, then separate that portion and make a whole video just about that tribute and then demonetize that tribute.
DSP would claim that other people had texted him about Scott's death and it wasn't just Howard, so he didn't owe Howard a response. Phil would go on to claim that this was defamation and character assassination and say that he wouldn't want to be their friends anymore.
To me, this is the ultimate hit below the belt. This is, if you want to say all the things they already said about the video up to this point were completely and 100% true, I don't know how you can actually defend this part of the video. This is insanely hurtful to me. This is actually like, I'm not kidding now. All right, I'm not exaggerating. I don't want to be friends with Howard ever again after this portion of the video. In fact, I would rather never speak with him ever again. I refuse to have any kind of a relationship with someone who has such a aggrandized self-importance to think that this guy was the exclusive person who could tell me that a friend of mine from back in the day had passed away. And that because I didn't personally contact him after the fact and say, oh, thank you so much for the information, and then slam me in a video publicly stating that I publicized and monetized his death. All right? There's exaggeration, and then there's malicious intent. All right? That's malicious intent right there. That's the actual textbook example of internet defamation. You've seen it. You can't, that is it. You can actually clip that portion of the video there. After seeing the context, you can clip that and say defamation. That's exactly what that is. All right? Now, I hate to say it. John is involved in this. I'm shocked. I'm appalled. John had gripes against me. But the fact that he's going along with this shit, you know, John knows me. John knows the kind of guy I am. We spent tons of time together. For him to even go along with this and include this in the video, I don't even know what to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have gripes against me, things I did wrong over the years. You could argue about money. You can argue about anything. But this is blatant character assassination. This is, we hate you. We never want to deal with you ever again. Especially because was always a closer friend to Scott than they ever were. I knew him before they did. I spent more time with him than they ever did. I knew more about him than they ever did. But somehow they're going to tell me that I don't have the right to do a tribute to my friend and share my memories with him on the internet. I don't deserve that. I don't have the right to do that, right? That's what they're saying in this video. Okay? So, if someone did that to you, would you ever want to be friends with them ever again? Ever.
And like his whole thing will be to retort to you. His response will be that, oh, you should have told me that you feel it, but you did. It's like, it's again, it's back to the apology thing. It's, you could tell someone so many times, right? And they apologize, but they keep doing the same behavior over and over. At a certain point, you realize this is who they are. They're not going to, they're not really apologizing. They're not really going to change.
No,
this is how it is. And you have to make the decision, like, do I want this in my life or not? You know, which is affecting you in a negative way.
Yeah, it affected all of us in a negative way. And I'm at a point in my life, I'll be completely honest with you, where I'm getting older, and I'm starting to realize things more and more. And one of the things that I cherish in my life now are the people that are around me, man.
Absolutely. I mean, what else is
that? That is what I cherish. That's all that matters, man. I don't care about games. I don't care about, about what I have. That doesn't.
If you had millions of dollars right now, but you had no one around you, you had no family or friends, but you had all the money, what is that a good life?
No, it's not.
I don't know.
How did making a tribute to my friend who passed away affect you so poorly, Howard? I'd love to hear that, because he won't say that. He'll just say it did. How? How did I ruin your life by making a tribute to Scott, a heartfelt tribute? You're what are they talking about? This whole video, it's not about money. It's not about the money, but money gets brought up constantly. And now I'm literally referenced as the guy surrounded by money, but has no friends. And would you be happy if you were in that same position like Phil? Like, they literally just compared me. That's me. Again, that's the same as Paymetons. They said DarkSyde in the Paymetons video. They literally just said, Phil is the guy with all this money who moved across the country, and now he's by himself, and he's completely alone, and we wouldn't be happy if we had that. All right? They literally just said it. All right? But again, it's not about money. It's not about jealousy. It's nothing about that, because Phil just kept speaking out of turn nasty things about us. absolutely this video has nothing to do with money, even though we've mentioned it 72 times so far. Right.
John and Howard would criticize Phil for claiming to be the most realist YouTuber on the platform. DSP would refute this, saying that just because he says to be honest doesn't mean he's lying.
And he refers to himself as the realest motherfucker on the internet when he's spewing misinformation, when he could have just called. And by the way, Howie.
Yep.
He has never actually called me to this day, which is 15 months later. Well, maybe 13 months. He's never actually called.
Yeah.
And in this video he said, I'm going to call him. He's never actually called me. I want to talk about this. He'll often say, I'm the realist, I'm the most, here's honestly this. Here's the truth of the matter. When people do that, they're usually doing it for a reason. It's usually because they're not telling the truth. If every time you spoke and you go, here's the honest truth of it. Let me be honest with you for a second. I'm the most honest. I'm the realist. That's a warning sign.
Yeah, big one.
Because why you feel the need to say that?
That's false. For me, I have a lot of mannerisms and things that I say in my dialect, talking to people on the internet every single day, all day long for 14 years. When I say, the truth of the matter, or the bottom line is, or I'll be honest with you right now, what I'm doing is trying to emphasize that what I'm about to say has weight or importance. Okay? But he is taking it like every time I say that it's something a lie. That's ridiculous. That's, again, negativity, toxicity that's seeped into his opinion of me, thinking that because I say those things all the time in my dialect, it means that I'm always lying. Couldn't be further from the truth, but he feels that way at this point. You see?
John and Howard would get texts in the middle of the night, and it would look like that DSP was drunk at the time. DSP would admit this is true, that he was drunk texting them for months. These drunk texts would occur after both John and Howard had cut off contact from DSP after he read John's private messages and monetized Scott's death. The months of drunk texting them, they wouldn't respond, so DSP, out of desperation, would make a video calling them out, forcing them to respond, leading to this video that John and Howard created.
In the middle of this, he starts sending text messages. First, he starts with John, starts sending John these text messages, like in the middle of the night. So now, when you do the math, right, John starts getting text messages at 6 o'clock in the morning. That means it's like 2 o'clock in the morning there. So now, when you start reading them, you start looking at it, and it doesn't make any sense why he's even texting. And it's not even coherent. So you start wondering if the guy was, like, if he's been drinking and texting.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's really weird. So basically I call John up, and John goes, yeah, he's texting me. It's really weird, and he keeps texting me, and I'm not responding back, and and like when he texts, like he's sending these messages like he does feel sorry on one end, but and then he says something that like later that contradicts it completely. So
you just get to the point where like this is not good to have in my life.
Yeah, it's
and
not
it's
good
sad
to
because
have. Yeah,
it doesn't mean you hate the person. It doesn't mean that you wish them ill. It's like you hope they could fix whatever they got going on.
Yeah.
But they're just doing too much damage to you and themselves,
Yeah, and then you look at it and you're like,
that's what it's like.
There's no consistency there's no rhyme or reason, no consistency to what he does.
I'll admit there's many texts he sends which I just don't respond to because how do you trust it, man?
Yeah.
How do you trust this isn't going to become something that's I got to talk about in a video now?
Yeah,
See,
pretty
John's
much.
talking to me all the time.
And that's one. And that's one of the reasons why I was reluctant to why I didn't reply to that text message, because I looked at it and said, well, if John went through this nonsense with him going ahead and posting these text messages on or reading these things on his vlogs, then what's it going to keep him from doing it with me?
Or if you respond, it becomes like, oh, Howard's talking to me. What the fuck, John's?
Yeah. So why even put myself in that predicament? That's why I didn't even bother texting him back. I just left it like that. But and then, like I said, he goes, writes these text messages, sends text messages to John, then sends me a text message. And then what does he do right after? He goes ahead, he posts a video.
Yeah, this was maybe 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And then what does he do? This week, he goes and posts this video on Thanksgiving.
So yeah, 2 weeks ago we both got texts like the middle of the freaking night while we're
Middle of the night. I got this text message. It was like 4:30 it was 5:30 in the morning. So that was like, I think it was like 3 in the morning over there, 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I look at it and I talked to John and I said, I really think he's drinking.
He basically, these texts, I'm not going to go word for word because that's what happened to me. I'm not going to do that, but he basically expressed that he wants to kind of work things out.
Yeah.
But he really doesn't, because you saw what he did on Thanksgiving. So it was basically like an ultimatum kind of thing. Like, if you don't fucking talk to me, respond to me right now, then I'm going to go publicly and try to fuck you, publicly.
Yeah.
So you're not really apologetic if you're doing that. You're not really trying to make things right. And you're really not hurt by the situation. Okay? And like, if you and I had a problem, Howie, which you never know.
I know, right?
And I felt really bad that you're not speaking to me. I'm probably not going to make the things worse.
No,
by saying shit like whatever he said, the insults that he said in a public video.
I was depressed as shit that year. Everything was falling apart around me. I was actually afraid I was going to lose everything. I thought that my YouTube channel was going to basically be shut down, or I was going to have such a loss of monetization on my YouTube channel that I was going to not be able to pay for anything. I was not going to be able to pay for my home. I was not going to be able to pay for anything at all. And like I said, at the very same time, with all the horrible things that were happening to me that year, my personal relationship also had fallen apart at the seams. I was heavily drinking all the time at night. I would basically do a full day of content on the internet for you guys, and then I would drink myself to sleep because I was fucked up. I was depressed as shit. I didn't think there was any way I was going to get out of it. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing for a job anymore. I was jaded. I hated everything around me, essentially, at that point. And then, yeah, some late nights, I'm not kidding. I know this sounds fucking pathetic as shit, because it is. There were some late nights when I would get drunk and I would start reminiscing about the past. I would start reminiscing about the times when I would do co-op with John, or we would do Smart Guys. And so I would actually be drinking like crazy and then watch our old content together and be depressed as fuck and fall asleep watching it. Okay? Playthroughs and everything, And then it got to the point where what happens when you're a drunken, depressed, idiot mess. I already had done this before in my life. And here I am doing it again in 2015. I start sending out texts and shit at night in the middle of the night when I shouldn't be. Everyone's asleep. I'm drunk as fuck. I'm stupid. I'm sending out these texts. Oh my God, John, I'm so sorry. I hope we can make up. I don't know what happened. If I did anything to fuck over your life or whatever, I hope that you'll forgive me. Shit like that. Pathetic shit. It is pathetic. Is it really an attempt for me to reach out to him and mend our relationship? Probably not. It's fucking me being depressed in the booze. It's not genuine. It's fucking me feeling bad. All right? And there's no excuse for it. It's disgusting, actually. I'm actually very upset with myself that I did it. And it happened for a while. It wasn't just like, it happened once or twice. It was like, over a course of months, I know I kept texting John like that sometimes at night. Okay, I get very bad when I get depressed and drunk. I do stupid shit. Okay, so all that being said, I was at a point in 2015 where I was at such a low, I was at that point. And so I decided, since these guys are not going to talk to me, I've now found out that they hate my guts from someone who has talked to them in person, and they have not told me this up front. I will force them to. And then at least we will have closure, right? So I forced their hand. I started talking about them in videos. There was the Thanksgiving Ask the King, where someone directly asked. That was the very beginning of this whole event, where I came out, said what I said on purpose. It was a calculated move to force them to react. But I was thinking they would react to me and say, hey, Phil, in private, shut the fuck up. We had enough of your shit. We don't want to be friends with you. We've moved on. Leave us alone. I fully expected that's what was going to happen. I thought maybe on a shocking whim, perhaps they would say, oh, well, we're sorry about all this. Let's work it out. I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought it was going to be the former. It was going to be destroy everything, burn it all down. That's what depression does, man. It makes you want to destroy it all, and then say fuck it all. I don't care after the fact that everything's destroyed. I was already feeling like shit. Why not just destroy everything around me too, right? So that's why I acted like that. And it's incredibly embarrassing. It was all public too. It wasn't even like, oh, you know, this is public shit I was saying on my podcast, public shit that I was saying in my videos. And then behind the scenes, I'm drunk texting these guys. Shit. And I know they didn't believe me. I'm not stupid. But, you know, it was out of control. Okay? All right.
John and Howard would claim that DSP wanted drama to get views, and they were self-aware that they were feeding into it by making this response video, yet again getting monetized by DSP.
Personally, I'll be completely honest with you, John. I really think that he watches too much WWE, because it feels like, no, I'm not lying, dude. It feels like, if it really feels like he tries to make his channel like that, where it's full of drama. It's all drama, just to try to create controversy so that he can get more views.
Yeah, and we're feeding into it right now.
And we're feeding into it.
So,
right
like I
now.
said, he's still finding ways to monetize us after this time, but
yeah.
My channel is all drama. Has he ever even watched the fucking channel? I played video games constantly. The vlogging was the rare shit. He's acting like I'm Keemstar. Like, what is he talking about here? It doesn't even make any sense at all what he's saying. It's completely nonsensical stuff.
In 2015, DSP would make montages of his and John Rambo's co-op playthroughs due to a Patreon goal. John Rambo would be upset by this, but Phil would justify it by saying he owned the videos forever.
Maybe it was September, August of 2015, this year. He put out a montage of a co-op playthrough that we did, and put ads on there. And it's pretty obvious that, like, I don't want to do anything with you or be associated with you. And then just let me put out a video that's got John in it, so I could put ads on it.
Wow.
You know? And why would you? Well, I can see why you would do it, but again, like, there's obviously some problems with the relationship. Why do you think that's a good idea?
Wow.
Nonsense, man.
Wow. I mean, do I really have to address it? Should I address that? Is there a point? I mean, we already talked about all of our arrangements over the years. You know, he got paid for that work at the time, very generously for it. Okay? There were never residual agreements. There never will be residual agreements. I can't even figure out residuals. To this day, I can't figure out residuals on that stuff. It's my content. I own it. I have the right to use that forever in perpetuity. I own the rights to the video. When I'm doing a project on Patreon and the viewers themselves say, we loved those days back in the day. That's old school DSP and Rambo. Can we do like a montage of the best stuff from back then? Right? What is wrong with that? Well, it was monetized. So in John's eyes, anything monetized with him on it is bad. Patreon is bad. Anything bad. Anything is bad. Anything with money, bad. But again, beginning of the video, this isn't about money, right? This video is not about money. However, this is number 114 times that we've mentioned money, and we're still mentioning it at the end of the video. It's not about money, even though he was paid for those videos. He got paid for the videos. He received compensation. That was the agreement we had. There was no future agreements or anything about anything else in the future. How can you then say, how dare you ever use this content ever again in anything? Ever. Like, I have to erase any interaction I ever had with Rambo and Howard off the internet. No. It happened. It's all there. It's documented. It will stay there forever. I will make 2 pennies every year on all the content we did. Because like I said, the old videos don't get monetized. They don't get ads. They don't. I make almost nothing on the ancient videos. It's the new stuff that I constantly pump out that makes the ad revenue. Not ancient videos. You know? It just doesn't exist. It's just a myth. A myth of YouTube that the old videos are getting tons of ad revenue. They don't get the same ads on them as the new videos. It's bullshit. So he thinks, oh, Phil in perpetuity will always be making a living off of the content we did. No, I make nothing on it. It's ridiculous. It's a horrible argument from someone who doesn't understand the way YouTube works and someone who doesn't have a leg to stand on in that argument, because I paid him for his work. What he wanted, by the way. Like, he thought it was too much at the time, as we've already discussed.
As a final attempt to reconcile, John would say to reach out to them, just call them, instead of making a video about this. DSP would consider this a final goodbye from them and would not call. He would go on to diminish Howard's impudence and then once again blame the detractors for ruining the friendship.
So, instead of making a monetized response video or trying to, post something on your forum, or maybe I won't see it or something like that, or trying to make profit off any of this, do what you said you were going to do back in August 2014. Give me an actual call. Give me the call that you promised that you were going to do.
Give both of us the call. Okay,
sure.
Yeah.
Give the call. I'll be happy to talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. Okay?
Yeah.
And then that's that, man. That's that.
Give both of us the call. Why would I call Howard? I'm still confused. No, give both of us the call. No, I still want the call. I mean, I hate your guts and everything, like I've explained in this video, but please give me the call too. I need the attention. It was a combination of many different factors, including trolling to both of us on both sides. I could handle the trolling, even though I very frequently mismanaged it and said dumb shit because of it. I carried on. They could not. They were feeling so hurt by the troll. Oh, your fans, your misguided fans came and insulted me. They were my fans. Those were the same trolls that troll me on a daily basis, but you for some reason thought, right, that they were my fans. They're not. These are the same people. They orchestrated shit to make us get at each other's throats because they like seeing good things end, right? These miserable fucktard people who just want to end good things on the internet because they can. They get a good flex out of it. They feel good about themselves when they ruin something good for someone else. And that was a major factor over the years about that. Okay?
This would essentially be the end of DSP's response to John and Howard. Notably, after this event, DSP would continue saying he demonetized it, but then go on to admit he didn't demonetize the whole event.
Just terrible human beings, don't deserve a platform to do the shit that they do. All right? They shouldn't have one. Saying some of the nastiest things possible about me. I fully knew it was going to happen. I demonetized the entire event, and now the videos are uploaded to YouTube, demonetized. Oh, but you have super thanks on. Yeah, it's called super thanks on the channel. You can't just turn it off for certain videos. Like either I have super thanks or I don't. So I should just disable super thanks forever permanently on my channel because I have 5 demonetized videos uploaded to the channel according to these people, right? Genius level intelligence. To hear stuff like, oh, DSP is monetizing his friends. What are you talking about? The entire thing was demonetized. To the extent that I could and not harm my channel, I didn't want to risk losing my business, my home, and everything, my livelihood over one event. So no, I wasn't going to completely demonetize my channel for the event and then hope that I can remonetize it right away because I don't trust YouTube. To be honest, I just don't. YouTube has all this shit in place and just assumes it all works. It almost never does, Do I really believe that I can completely demonetize my channel at the click of a button and then I can immediately fully remonetize it with another click of the button? No, I do not. I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form. I think what would happen is it would probably fuck up. It would be delayed. I'm not going to fuck around with that. It's one thing to say, all right, no contributions, please, during the event. There will be small portions monetized, but for the most part, no ads, no contributions, please. And for the most part, you guys listened, and I'm happy about that. Like that yesterday was not about that at all. It wasn't a normal business day for me. It was a special event.
This would reveal that the only thing that was demonetized during this event were ads. Typically, ads are one of the lowest forms of revenue. It is true that he could not turn off super thanks for an individual video without turning it off for the whole channel, but he could have turned off super chats and super stickers for that one individual stream. DSP would receive tips at the beginning, middle, break, and ending of that event. He may have received tips during the event itself, but he didn't shout them out. To be truly demonetized, it should have been pre-recorded and uploaded to an alternative channel where there was no monetization. DSP has multiple channels that are currently defunct that it could have been uploaded to. By choosing to livestream it and upload it to his main channel, DSP would have received tips through PayPal, super chats, super stickers, and super thanks on those videos, and he would gain a boost in views. John uploaded their video to a new channel because they did not want to profit off this drama and they believed it was garbage content. Howard or someone posing as Howard would respond in DSP's livestream. They would say, "Check your phone, pussy." I legit feel bad for all you idiots that believe this scammer. This username is connected to Howard's channel, but there's always the chance it was someone impersonating him to insult DSP. This would truly be the final nail in the coffin of their friendship after taking 7 years to respond to their video. To DSP and DSP fans, it felt like he finally got his side of the story out and concluded this relationship with John, Rambo, and Howard. To detractors, it would appear as DSP successfully monetizing his old friends once again. As always, thank you for watching, please subscribe, and thank you to all my members that joined my channel.